Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Marvel. The Father's System. I am raising Wanda and Homelander in Marvel. Chapter 41. Odin really cheated on his son. If Thor were Azu's character, he would probably be crying by now, and then ask Dad, how many gods have you offended by riding on the horse? Can you explain it all at once? Stop, Riddler. Why don't you make me understand? But it's a pity. Thor is not a father-worn person like Azu, but a fanatical Odin fan. People are probably still crying right now, shouting, "Daddy Odin, someone is awesome to me, awesome to me." Guan Fuyun thought about it and couldn't help but laugh out loud for no reason. Hey, it feels so good to be a great person. The Meow Hammer feels great. It's just as your father and son said. I am a failed man, and because of this, I don't want Thor to follow in my footsteps. Odin said, "Since that battle, I have never forgotten the agreement or the promise I made with the gods. Asgard and Midgard have long been cut off from each other. There has been no contact for a long time, and the legend has it that the gods turned into nothingness. We never interfered in any affairs of Midgard again. Thor's visit here is just a simple visit. It's not a test. I hope that Your Excellency, and the group of gods behind you, can understand this clearly. Guan Fuyun, etc." Listening to this, Odin seemed to have misunderstood something. That battle should refer to the major event in the comics when the gods withdraw from Blue Star. To put it simply, Blue Star had 9 realms and gods at the beginning. Then the god team came and said that this is our experimental field and breeding farm. Please hurry up and get out. When the gods heard this, they got angry and said, "Brother, are you here to make fun of me? If you don't accept it, give it a fight." Then there was a fight. The gods failed miserably. The cosmic god group is a bit like the Kingdom of Light, but bigger. Each member is 600 meters tall, has a power at least comparable to that of the Heavenly Father, and has a variety of professions like Planet Observer, which sounds like a noble job. They all like to shake people if they can't beat them. Even like Aoyuman, he likes to release cosmic rays to kill people. The once young Odin was high-spirited and the most powerful among all the gods. He wore the destroyer armor to challenge a team of gods. When Zeus, Shiva, etc. see each other, they all say, "Brother, I'm going to smoke Wazi." Then, Odin was shot into the star core by light, and was almost beaten to death by one of the gods. This battle obviously left a deep shadow on him. I originally thought that after so many years, the gods had not been out shopping for a long time. He will send Thor to this ancient wild area to grow and develop, so that he can remember the bitter things and remember the sweet things, so there should be no problem. Who would have thought that they would meet Guan Fuyun? In Odin's eyes, although Guan Fuyun has flesh and blood, he is not human at all. Odin exhausted his vision and saw only a wisp of the official cloud, full of concepts and rules, so powerful that it was incomprehensible. Isn't this just right? The celestial beings are also the embodiment of abstractions, concepts, and rules in the universe. No one knows what their true appearance looks like inside the armor. What if Guan Fuyun is like this? The more Odin thought about it, the more he felt that he was right. He was afraid that his eldest son, Thor, would offend the gods and become mentally retarded, leading to a miserable life. Then, regardless of Odin's sleep, he got up from the coffin and rushed to say good things. Now, Guan Fuyun, who gradually thought about it, suddenly understood. It turned out that the Mr. God in Odin's mouth was not a compliment, but that he believed that Guan Fuyun's race was the god. Guan Fuyun wanted to speak but stopped. It turns out Dad is a god. Azu had a look of surprise on his face. He felt that his worth was higher. If we were to fight against my father, who could beat him? Tactical fallback. Guan Fuyun. Actually, You don't need to tell me, I understand everything. Odin gave Guan Fuyun a meaningful look and said, "The gods are abstract incarnations. Each one has a mysterious mission and is born to be proud. You don't like your identity being exposed, and I won't reveal the secret." Guan Fuyun. Well, okay, this also saves trouble. Anyway, there is no need for him to work hard, he just needs to smile, and Odin will figure everything out. Finished. Odin looked longingly at the hammer in Guan Fuyun's hand. Means, "Brother Tianshan, I've finished my words. I am loyal, as can be seen from the sun and the moon. Can you give my son's hammer back? He was originally a hammer god." Now that he doesn't even have a hammer, won't he have to send it back in the future? For the Asgardian God King series, the Meow hammer is almost a symbol of the Crown Prince. Odin also hammered it all the way up back then. So I can understand Thor's mentality. To be honest, he also feels that he has been bullied. One person is awesome at a pair of God King father and son, and Guan Fuyun is also awesome. Quote. Guan Fuyun turned a blind eye and continued to play with a hammer. Azu frowned and said bluntly, "Old Biden, you are here, let's get some gold coins." Quote. Hearing this, Odin had a question mark on his face. Is this a god or a bandit? Is the atmosphere of the Tenjin group so corrupt now? But doesn't it seem like a bad thing? He twitched the corner of his mouth, pondered for a moment, and then pulled out a large amount of metal out of thin air. Uru alloy. Like stone and metal, it can store energy, especially magical energy. This can be used by Wanda. Guan Fuyun communicates with Azu through spiritual pillar. So good. Azu smiled, stepped forward, grabbed it, and put it away immediately. Azu said, "Is there any more? I heard that you have a treasure house with many items in it." Odin stretched out his hand again and took out a bunch of flames. "This is the eternal fire." Guan Fuyun continued to whisper to Azu, "You can feed it to Godzilla, he likes high calories the most. And since the eternal fire can't be eaten, it will be convenient for barbecues on the farm in the future." Azu also put away the eternal fire and said, "Explode more." Odin's face turned dark and he took out an aqua blue box. "This is the casket of ancient winters. Has the power to freeze a planet in an instant. You can take it back and put it in the cellar and use it as a refrigerator or air conditioner for a lifetime." Guan Fuyun spoke directly. Okay. Azu smiled. Today was really full of gains, but also indebted. He also put away the casket of ancient winters. "Then go call Wanda and Godzilla, prepare to divide the spoils, and have fun together." Quote. Odin took the Meow hammer with a dark face, feeling so bad. Maybe he was bleeding profusely and wanted to vent his anger on the baby. Maybe the purpose of the experience has not been achieved. Maybe he felt that Guan Fuyun, a god, was extraordinary and could be contacted again. Odin did not carry the hammer to find Thor, nor did he take Thor away. He only showed up to explain a few words. Then he went back to Asgard. He placed the hammer at the intersection of Dad's company. The god and his son. My hammer. After learning about the situation, Thor couldn't bear it for a moment and started to route the line directly. He wants to cross Mexico, go to America, go to New York, make a living and earn back his hammer. The idea is beautiful, but when Thor was full of expectations, performing arts, physical strength, and even blood all the way to the US-Mexico border, he was blocked by the border wall. Fake squid. Looking at the border wall, Thor's smile solidified and he breathed out fragrance. He has gone through a lot of hardships along the way. For example, being beaten and scolded, shot at, kidnapped by a gang and then kidnapped by the police after calling the police, almost flying on a leaf, almost being too many. He witnessed the suffering of the world. This kind of suffering is called being too close to Millikan. The entire America, such as railways, energy, land, food, knowledge, are almost all controlled by American capital. The old Mo people can only become consumables, and they are in the battle royale since they were born. One of their usual sources of income is selling blood and organs. Although America has shootings, abstractions, and various legalizations, but compared to South American countries, America can really be said to be stable, strong, peaceful, and prosperous. Many are just trying to survive. You have to run the line. Thor is one of them. Unimaginable. In this modern age where everyone has mobile phones and the internet, he can still live in the open for a long time, without enough food to eat, and to sell blood to survive. Odin gave him the mobile phone and taught him how to use it. At the same time, Odin also confessed, saying, "Little by Zai, I won't pretend anymore, I'm showing my cards, and I just want to challenge you." He also said that there is a god in New York, and if you get his approval, he will let you return to Asgard and inherit the throne. When Thor heard that my father still loved me, he became energetic. He gritted his teeth and walked the line until now. While looking at the boasts on the internet about America being #1 in the world, freedom, prosperity, and stocks. While feeling the plunder and sin of Miletian, saw the white bones. Thor was greatly shocked in his heart. His arrogance all appear humble and polite in comparison with Milliken. Take plundering and bullying the weak as a matter of course, take shamelessness as freedom, and let those who are full of evil become members of the parliament. How could there be such a country? In the name of Odin, does my father want me to crush Milliken? At this moment, Thor is not a mighty Thor, but a conservative mortal. He especially couldn't stand the gender of the paper catapult. When the cheek kisses the earth, the gods begin to think. Thor spoke the words of Chuni. Think over and over again about Odin's divine will. Ah ha ha ha, the donuts are so delicious. At this time, harsh laughter came. Quote. Thor looked up and saw someone crossing the border wall and barbed wire fence in front of the line. He was holding donuts in his hands, kneeling down and laughing, showing the ultimate flattery. Like a dog wagging its tail and begging for mercy, trying to attract the attention of its owner. Thor despised it. Along the way, he also understood that routing and wiring are different. Some people are rich because they can't survive. Some people are born stupid without realizing it. Such as donuts. He abandoned everything he owned and traveled thousands of miles to come here just to be a homeless man and pick up garbage to eat. What, does he also have an Asgard that he wants to inherit? He thinks he has been a joker all his life because of his place. What's the matter? Someone is still the son of the God King, but in a different place, he becomes little Kayla Rice. Although they are both informants. But Thor can't understand the brain circuit of donuts. Looking again at the male soldiers wearing high heels at the border. Thor was even a little angry. With Odin on top, how unbecoming is this? Odin, the father of the gods, really took great pains to torture him. This is all an experience. Thor numbed his nerves. Victory is right in front of you. The mouth is open. Go, go, go. He followed the crowd and rushed towards the stowaway location where the donuts were torn apart. That moment, the routing army's eyes are red. Laughing, screaming, charging, trampling, crowding. All living beings are before your eyes. Thor was also a little excited when he thought of Meowth Hammer, and the corners of his mouth raised. Bang, bang. At this time, a gunshot rang out. Bullets whizzed past everyone's heads, and the high-heeled soldiers on the opposite side were smiling playfully. This is a threat and a game. With the sound of gunfire, the barbed wire gradually lights up, it is electrified. Ah! Then, screaming became the only sound again. For high-heeled military soldiers, these moisturizers will go there to grab jobs and welfare benefits. They are obviously homeless, but they can live in 5-star hotels or even in schools, driving students who have paid large tuition fees to take online classes. As for these soldiers, once they retire from the army, they may even have no fixed place to live. Both sides are enemies. For the old Mo people, it is precisely because of Miletian that they were born. Their lives are as cheap as ants, and they cannot survive. Both sides are enemies. At this moment, the sound of a gunshot was like the appearance of a starting gun, and the enemy was extremely jealous when they met. Both sides became more insistent and ferocious. People screamed and rushed forward, desperate. Thor was squeezed and staggered. In a daze, he saw parents abandoning their babies and jumping over the high wall like zombies. Successful entry does not mean that you will not be deported. Because it has to be right. Babies are sometimes the license plate and talisman of peace. So moisturizing things will bring the baby. There is even a business of selling human cubs along the way. Buy it, move over, you can live in it and keep it for a few years, and your children will be killed by school shootings. What a deal. Therefore, it is normal and reasonable for parents to abandon their babies when necessary. This struck Thor as if he were struck by lightning. In Asgard, even on the most brutal battlefield, a knife would not be wielded against a baby. Almost instantly, Thor was angry. He roared, his clothes were as ragged as iron armor, his beard was unshaven like a lion, and his tattered red scarf seemed to be turned into a cloak. At this moment, he is still the brave, fearless and invincible Thor. He pounced violently, tearing apart the crowd against the current. Caught the baby. Thump, crack, go away. Then Thor was overturned and trampled under the feet of the crowd. His stature was stooped, and his face was completely bitten into the foul-smelling and dirty mud. His hands and feet were trampled to pieces. Only the spine and belly can still arch upward to protect the baby. Wow! The baby was frightened and cried loudly, as if he had returned to a cave, surrounded by jungles and wild beasts. It's okay, it's okay. Thor was also crying. I'm sorry Odin, the father of the gods. He can't see the gods, and he can't go back to Asgard. Boom! As soon as this thought appeared, the sky was pierced by blue lightning, and hammers fell from the sky, bringing with them howling wind. With the earth-shattering thunder, Thor stood up, holding the Meow hammer in his hand, wearing armor, and his cape flying. Power is back. In the past, Thor would have cheered and vented like a savage. But today, he held the baby in his arms and moved gently. Ahahaha, the donuts are so delicious. Is this God? At this time, there was Runwoo, the fool who knelt down when he saw everyone, and now he knelt down to worship Thor. Shameless, incompetent and ignorant. Boom! Thor's inner disgust also reached its peak at this moment. He swung the hammer like a windmill, shooting out thunder and arcs of lightning, directly chopping the group of people into charcoal. Then his figure soared into the air and roared into the air. New York, Dad's Company. Interview Department. Name: Thor Odinson. Gender: what do you think? If you're not a buddy, how can I assume your gender? Male. Ability: can fly, can discharge electricity, and has excellent hammering skills. Are you wearing a costume now? It can be. Personal experience and extraordinary battles you have participated in, please give examples. I am Asgard, the son of God King Odin. I am Thor. I once conquered the 9 realms and was famous. Before coming here, I retaliated against the giants of Jotunheim. Quote? The questioning voice suddenly disappeared, and Thor was a little nervous. On the one hand, he was afraid that he would not be able to see the god. On the other hand, the baby girl he had picked up was still waiting for feeding. He needs a salary. He wants to make money. Sitting in the interview room, Thor wiped his sweat, leaned forward, and whispered, "So, am I hired?" Well, considering Mr. Thor, the expression on your face when you spoke just now was very serious, and it didn't look like you were lying. The interviewer said seriously, "I suspect you are mentally ill." Am I mentally ill? Thor suddenly became excited. If he was mentally ill, he would order more food. Haha, I'm kidding you, Mr. Thor, your acting skills are very good and you are very into the scene. Although your lines are old-fashioned, they are very standard. The interviewer laughed. So, I'm not mentally ill. I'm a normal person. Thor suddenly lost. Interviewer, maybe it's not that normal. Anyway, Thor was hired. I heard that he was short of money, so just like Spider-Man, the company directly wrote a check. God is generous. Thor beamed, overjoyed, and said excitedly, "Can I meet the god, I mean the boss's father?" Okay, you have to queue up. The interviewer pursed his lips, pointed out the window and said, "The group of people outside all want to see the boss. But in fact, they can't even see Mr. Zoo. The only feedback I received was from the bald guy in the wheelchair. He is quite famous, and his name is Professor." The interviewer was very talkative. Thor looked out the window and saw a large, dark crowd of people queuing up. This is not surprising either. When he was in Asgard, there were also messengers from many planets who came to see Odin and wanted to see the majesty of the God King. But Odin is busy with business, needs to sleep, so he often disappears. For this reason, the messengers can even wait for hundreds or thousands of years. Originally, Thor was going to line up, but beside him, there was crying in the stroller. Thor instantly forgot about the gods. I hurriedly went to buy milk powder. Other side. Almost at the same time Thor arrived in New York and went to the company to apply for a job. The cunning Loki escaped from Asgard while Odin was sleeping again. Same as in the movie Thor 1. Loki knew his origin. He was not a native of Asgard, but a descendant of the giants of Jotunheim. The bloodline is still very pure. The king of giants of Jotunheim, Laufey, is his biological father. After knowing the news about the grass, Loki's immediate concern was that he was worried about his father. He wanted to contact the giants of Jotunheim and launch an attack on Asgard. Then he would backstab Laufey to death, become a hero, and take the throne as king. But who would have thought that Odin would suddenly wake up while sleeping and beat Loki up before going out? So much so that even now Odin has stopped eating again. Loki didn't dare lose his temper again. He was like a naughty kid who was trick-or-treating when he couldn't get candy, wandering alone in the universe. Suddenly, a huge amount of Chitauri biological battleship appeared in front of them. Numerous weapons were pointed at Loki. Quote exclamation mark quote. He was captured by the Chitauri and taken to a huge amount of palace. Look up. A purple sweet potato spirit wearing armor sat on a golden throne, with a ferocious giant blade beside him and endless troops behind him. The purple sweet potato spirit held her chin with one hand, showing no anger and self-power, exuding the domineering aura of a monarch. This feeling, far more than Thor, comparable to or even surpassing young Odin. Loki was dumbfounded and subconsciously said, "Are you a drug-addicted swimmer from Milliken? Why don't you show off?" Yes, before Thor was demoted and Odin didn't get up, Loki had been using Asgard's artifact to watch Midgard in the dark. Naturally, I also know some hot memes. Quote question mark quote. Hearing this, Thanos frowned. This god of tricks didn't seem very clever. I am the overlord of the universe, Thanos. Thanos spoke, his voice low and magnetic, even polite, like a scientist. It said, I can help you become king and help you kill Thor. Real. Loki's eyes lit up. He is like a giant baby now, filled with envy, jealousy and hatred, and only wants to be better than Thor. Killing Thor is naturally an excellent one. Seeing Loki questioning, Thanos waved, and the Mind Scepter was presented. Feel the surging power within the scepter. Loki smiled evilly and said politely, so, what do you need me to do? Mr. Thanos. You are needed to release the big snake, Jormungandr, that was sealed in Midgard by Odin. Thanos said slowly. Asgard predicted that the serpent would die together with Thor. This is a curse with the power of fate and it is extremely difficult to break. At the same time, I want you to contact the giants of Jotunheim and attack Blue Star. The Chitauri Corps will also cooperate with you. As for the spiritual scepter, just think of it as being used for self-defense. Loki was shocked. Is that an exaggeration? Thor isn't that hard to kill, right? Killing Thor is your purpose. Thanos said leisurely. My purpose is just to test. Testing for what? Loki was even more surprised. This is a completely destructive rhythm. What weight class can withstand such a test? Quote. But at this moment, Thanos stopped talking and his eyes were deep. It can't be said that Odin was so frightened that he didn't even sleep. He dragged his abundant divine power, old body, and the risk of being torn apart to go to Blue Star to meet someone, right? There are only a few people in the entire universe that Odin can meet. It is visually estimated that his strength has reached the level of Heavenly Father. Now that the Ancient One has died and Odin has grown old, a Heavenly Father actually appears on Blue Star. This completely disrupted Thanos' plan. If there were no space gems, time gems, located on Blue Star, its gloves would be useless. So it requires a trial. Look at whether this Heavenly Father is a constant or a variable. If it is a variable, such as accidentally coming to Blue Star, then when another angry Heavenly Father, the big snake appears, he can choose to leave. If it is a constant, people have settled in Blue Star and want to take care of things. Then, he will definitely fight with the big snake. No matter who loses or wins. Even Thanos can profit from it and act according to the opportunity. Even if that man is stronger than imagined. Can defeat Orochi, Chitauri, giants of Jotunheim. So, Thanos can also give up the Mind Scepter, shelve the Infinity Gauntlet plan, and once again embark on the path of pursuing power. Anyway, no matter what, it will carry out family planning for the universe. At the same time, Blue Star, time flies by and it gets dark. Farm, the eternal fire became a bonfire. Azu, go kill the pig. Have a barbecue tonight. Wanda, go wash the vegetables. Godzilla, stop sucking, you're going to suck all the Phoenix power out. Damn it, you're not going to turn into a red lotus, are you? It was very lively. Guan Fuyun tinkered with Uru metal and wanted to get a suit for Wanda. At the same time, he used speech skill to extract the power of the Phoenix from Jean Grey's body, and also extracted her dark personality to use it to refine the magic suit. Result: when Godzilla saw the Phoenix force, he took a bite of it as if he were seeing delicious food. If origin magic power represents matter and reality, then Phoenix power represents spirit and control. One is biased toward the creator. One is destruction, decomposition, control and release. The Phoenix power knows no good or evil. Theoretically speaking, Jean Grey is the perfect Phoenix host, whether it is a white Phoenix or a black Phoenix. She is always more pure than others. But Godzilla's purity is above hers. Especially, as the apex of the ecological chain on this planet, as an incarnation of the will of this planet. Godzilla is extremely adaptable. It has 3 mouths and 1 Phoenix power. By the time Guan Fuyun reacts, the monster's body has begun to expand. 5 meters, 10 meters, 50 meters. Accompanied by the lodging of the Phoenix power and the devouring of the eternal fire. Godzilla is getting bigger and bigger, and it directly breaks through the kitchen. What a foodie. True immortality ignoring the weight and pressure. Guan Fuyun hugged Godzilla and ran away. When he arrived at Godzilla's exclusive room, he landed only a few minutes ago. In front of him, it is already a giant beast that is almost 200 meters tall, and its chest is covered with flames and phoenix textures. The abundant energy even forms a helmet, shoulder armor, and its dorsal fin is also shining. Overall, it looks like an invincible upgraded version of Golzon. Roar. Godzilla's voice is no longer quacking like a duck, but has become mighty and domineering. A mouth. The energy tide surges in the mouth, and the atomic breath is ready to come out. That is, in the room. If it appears in a city, this one can cause earthquake-like shaking and landslides. What a loud tone. Azu also flew in, with a look of surprise on his face, and went to slide on Godzilla's dorsal fin. Quote. Wanda looked confused and reached out to poke Godzilla's belly. She raised her head blankly, as if she couldn't figure out how this swamp puppy could grow up so fast. This is unscientific. Bite. Godzilla, baby number 3, has increased gratitude. 60%, 80%, 90%. Extra reward development entry is drawn once. Do you want to use it? System prompts also appeared. It seems that in Godzilla's eyes, eating well is the greatest happiness. Guan Fuyun went to move the eternal fire, casket of ancient winters, and various ingredients and condiments to prepare for the barbecue. He was really hungry after all. One side thought, yes. Bite. Congratulations on getting the entry. File size as you wish. File size RE. The file size can be changed at will. When in the reduced state, the energy, strength, and speed will be suppressed, and it will be in a state similar to a seal. Once the body is restored, it is equivalent to the seal being released, and it will enter a short burst period. It means this. Now the normal Godzilla is 200 meters faster equals mechanical Greymon. After shrinking equals Greymon. Shrink first and then recover equals battle Greymon. 6. Guan Fuyun gave the entry with great interest. Then, as expected, Godzilla in the room began to shrink and became 1.8 meters tall again. Whoa, whoa, this moment really shocked Azu. His eyes were shining and he was very excited. This is simply the most perfect playmate. Can it still get smaller? Azu asked. Whoosh. Then Godzilla turned into a palm-sized pocket monster that could be held in Azu's palm and stand on Azu's head and shoulders. It can even bite Azu's ear, swing it around, and disguise itself as an earring. The mini version of Godzilla's power, speed, and even body strength will be reduced, but don't worry. Once you encounter an attack that exceeds the upper limit of your current form, Godzilla automatically grows in size. That's cool. Dad, can I sleep with Godzilla in the future? Please, Daddy, Azu begged. He even learned to act coquettishly. Looking at his Anthony face, coquettishly coquettish, Guan Fuyun didn't feel any disobedience at all. Someone else even enjoyed it. Okay, let's eat first. Guan Fuyun said. Woohoo, Godzilla, let's go. It is conceivable that Azu now is like a little boy who got his beloved toy, and he cannot calm down at all. He plucked at the rice frantically, swallowed it whole, and inhaled it like a storm. Then he looked excited and went to play with Godzilla. Remember to call Phoenix Girl. No, from now on she can only be called Jean Grey. Remember to have someone pick her up. Don't let people starve to death in pig pens. Guan Fuyun explained loudly. Each room in the farm is exclusive, which is really inconvenient, and others are not welcome to see it. After bringing Jean Grey back, the 3 of them and Godzilla all had a tacit understanding and led her directly to the pig pen. Then, with her, not a buddy. Look in her eyes, they began to draw out the soul and the power of the phoenix. Jean Grey should still be rolling her eyes and fainting from the pain. "No," Azu responded. "It sounds a bit perfunctory." But Guan Fuyun felt relieved after hearing this. The Azu he raised always got the right results when doing things. "Master Godfather, the suit is ready, can you send it to my room?" Wanda blinked and said softly with a hint of coquettishness in her tone. "Okay." Guan Fuyun agreed casually. With the help of words and methods, his labor force has reached a higher level. Sorcerer Supreme Wanda's suit is actually almost ready. The general idea is an armor skirt made of uru metal, similar to a Valkyrie, which effectively increases protection and increases the power of magic energy gathering. The most essential part of Urugan will be made into a pair of gloves, which can draw circles twice as fast. Then Dark Phoenix's personality, or soul, was stripped of its cocoon and turned into black silk. Similar to the undead cloak on the set of Strange 2. It mainly focuses on being cool and adding attack methods. There are also some small details and decorations that can be supplemented with items in the system store. Time flies by. Dong dong dong. "Wanda, open the door, I am the Godfather." Guan Fuyun knocked on Wanda's door. The zinc door opens and closes. "Go inside." The thick zinc curtains caught the moonlight. The room was a little dark. "What does the suit look like?" Wanda Duck sat by the bed, took off her dress and piled it into a pile, simply put on a JK, and then turned her magic cloak into a scarf. She looked at Guan Fuyun, and in her watery eyes, scarlet magic light danced, with a trace of inexplicable excitement. "This is the suit." Guan Fuyun took out the Valkyrie armor skirt and Black Phoenix black silk stockings. "Put it on, Wanda. Like decorating a doll. Why didn't Dad get up?" The next day, Azu scratched his head. It was really puzzling. He made himself a breakfast, left the food in the pot, and turned down the power of the Eternal Fire's hot pit. "Then I happily took Godzilla out to show off. Now, as the president of Dad's company, Azu's favorite thing is to take a taxi." When he arrived at the company gate in a low-key car and got off the car, a row of people uniformly shouted, "Hello, Mr. Zhu." It startled the driver. That feeling is really wonderful. Sure enough, Dad is right. What's the point of being a superhero in fancy clothes? Fried fish, matryoshka dolls, and invisible pretense are the most enjoyable. Azu felt happy. For example, who would have thought that he, wearing camouflage glasses and looking gentle, is actually a vicious fellow countryman? Who would have thought that Godzilla, who looks like a cute pet on his shoulder, can actually destroy the world? Who would have thought that he has a time stone hanging around his neck and an adamantium knife in his bracelet? And his battle suit has also been strengthened by his father with the word spirit, and he can change his clothes in a second. Starting at 0 frame, who can stop it? All this gave Azu a strong sense of security and satisfaction, making him look forward to showing off at work. All this was given by Guan Fuyun. It's great to have a dad. Hello, son of God. At this time, Thor, who came to work with his baby, recognized Azu at a glance. He showed a silly smile on his face and showed the etiquette of a king. "Your Excellency, the Supreme, the Powerful, the Son of the Gods, I am." Hammer God. Azu was shocked. "Odin's son. It's me." Thor was flattered. He didn't expect that the gods and the sons of gods would actually know him. The son of the gods is truly knowledgeable and omniscient. Thor solemnly praised. Hiss. Don't tell me yet. Azu just did this. In particular, Thor not only praised him and flattered him, but also praised his father to the sky, which made Azu enjoy it even more. Azu said, "Odin is also very powerful." Refers to the special ability to explode gold coins. What a great compliment, Mr. Son of God. I will definitely tell my father. Thor did the same thing, and the two of them started to flirt with each other and got in touch with each other. The hot chat continued for a while, and it felt like it was too late to meet each other. Talk about getting excited. The two also wrestled for a while, and the result was that the sun-drenched version of Azu was even better. But Thor then showed off the Meow Hammer, but Azu didn't use it, and Thor made it back. It's really fun. Azu smiled brightly, recognized Thor as a friend, and then arranged some caregivers and nannies for the baby girl. They are all part-time agents. Excellent level. Thank you, Brother Zhu. Thor was really happy and touched now, just like Li Kui almost shouted, Brother Jiyu, when he saw Song Jong. It's just a little effort. Azu also put it on again, smiled and said, and you, my friend, Thor, you are the real hero. Brother Zhu, you understand me. Thor was so stupid that his eyes filled with tears, and he was so heartwarming. I can tell at a glance that you are going to do big things in the future. Azu continued Pua and said, but let's start with an actor and a job first, and listen to my command, okay? Through fire and water. Brother Zhu. Thor was taken down directly. Got it, Thor. The smile on Azu's face was brighter and brighter. Win. But I really need a secretary and second in command. Azu changed his face and frowned. For someone as stupid and crude as Thor, who is associated with the reality stone, he can come forward. But you can't let him show up for everyone, right? Doesn't that mean there is no time to go back to the farm to work and cultivate the land? He also wants to listen to his father's teachings on how to be a good person. Think of this. Azu closed his eyes, all his senses were semi-closed, and his super hearing was strengthened. It was like an invisible sonic radar that enveloped New York in an instant. Family. For a reward at the carnival, Spider-Man will deliver food to you. Hulk. I want popularity votes. Tony, you are the head of Stark Industries, can you please say goodbye? Stay alert, good job, don't lose your position. Quote. Various voices appeared, and Azu looked for talents among them. Don't tell me yet. He really found someone who was absolutely suitable and even surprised him. He heard the noise of the troublesome pairs in New York. In the dream, or in another timeline, his assistant, the CEO of what company, was Obstacle Pair. Why is she here? Broken. If she can come, can others also come? There won't be another version of myself that will snatch Daddy's love, right? Dad can't tell the difference, right? Worry. Whoosh. Azu became anxious and flew at a low altitude, moving like a teleporter. Come to Hell's Kitchen in New York. New York, Manhattan, Hell's Kitchen neighborhood. Notoriously chaotic. In broad daylight, you can see needles, bloodstains, and bullet casings all over the ground, and the street lights are full of craters. In the corner, several gangsters will jump out at any time. Even some heroes and criminals in strange costumes. Ordinary people living here, let alone dire straits, would at least be divided into pieces. But the troublesome pair is different. When she came here, it was like returning to Novice Village. Although she is not the boss. But she has always served the boss. Compared with being invulnerable, having a body of steel, being moody, shooting people at 0 frames at any time, being happy Superman, and facing the people of the motherland with twin peaks and ears. The criminals here seem extremely anthropomorphic. Even those super criminals, such as the Purple Man, obviously have good abilities, such as hypnotic ability and control of others. But he would only use this ability to tease Jessica. Shilly passed by their secret room once, and faced Zaren's threat of calling the police and killing you. She just gave a crooked smile. Then he put on Ace's leather suit and went out in person to perform a series of highlights. The Purple Man was made to fall to the ground, saying, you know how to play, and you are this one. Small roles in other gangs or something. The troublesome pair is even more able to cope with it and has a prosperous life. Occasionally, she will also miss the locomotive that took her to escape, and wonders what bro is doing now. He won't be captured by Vought Company for a crazy experiment, right? Obstacle Lee thought evilly, and the corners of her mouth curved crazily. The days without Walter are the good days, she said happily. After saying that, he turned around and saw Azu. Although he did not wear the American flag suit of his motherland, although he still wore glasses, even though he had a strange pet on his head. But that temperament cannot be changed. Quote exclamation mark. Quote. The hindrance pair's legs went weak, his mind went blank, and his heart almost stopped beating. Ancestor, ancestor, ancestor. She was incoherent, backed away frantically, and urinated. Calm down, you're in the way. I'm not from the motherland, but a fellow countryman. My name is Azu, not John. Azu said. He was particularly concerned about this. Obstructive pair. Humph. Don't come over. She was scared out of her mind. Azu. Azu frowned and emphasized. Look at me, you are in the way. Look at me, shut your mouth. Obstacle pair. Although he was panicked and frightened, As soon as he saw the light in Azu's eyes, the troublemaker calmed down and said nothing. Buzz. At this time, the time stone shines. Azu flipped through the life script that hindered Lee and found that he often laughed at himself in another world. Because the giant baby nursing under the American flag can also see Azu's current happy life and perfect daddy. He was crazy jealous, crazy, abstract, and his behavior became more and more violent. So much so that when the locomotive became a rebellious ninja, the troublemaker did not hesitate to follow Jun. But I don't know why she appeared in this world. Are the two planets integrating? If this is the case, it is what Dad calls a big event, and his past experiences in the laboratory and his other self are so pitiful and ridiculous. It may also be made public. It would be embarrassing. If you don't want to lose face, kill them all. In Azu's eyes, the red light of heat vision was looming. But eventually it disappeared, because it doesn't matter. Just be embarrassed if you're embarrassed, it's not really him. Azu doesn't care about the company, his reputation, or even all human beings. All he wants is his father's company and those warm daily moments. Instead of going to great lengths to clean and kill, I was worried that my father would be snatched away. It's better to go home and confess to Dad. All he had to do was explain the situation and make it clear, Dad, the other me is not me, and, don't be fooled. He just needs to listen to his father. Even if a killing is really needed, wouldn't it be more thorough for the farm family to come together and clean the planet directly? He wants a father, family affection, and the warmth of not hiding secrets from each other. Then he should not lie to his family either. As for the troublesome pairs, her ability to work beside her other self for so long is truly outstanding. She was like the hair in that critical moment, the thinnest hair that could not be broken no matter what. This is good. Hanchily, let's sit down and talk. From ferocious to calm, from fierce to polite. Azu's expression changed several times within a second, and finally he said with a smile, have you ever heard of parallel worlds? Explained the situation. Azu asked, do you believe me now? It's a troublesome pair. Believe it. Always believe it. Obstacle Lee shook her head. Azu couldn't stop laughing, and said in a mean and vicious manner, like a naughty child, have you been brainwashed by Shabifa? This is not a rhetorical question, answer me, it's in your way. No, Mr. Azu, my brain has not been hacked by Shabifa, Obstacle Lee said with certainty. Then return to the position of CEO, watch and learn hard. Azu said, remember, this is not a movie or entertainment company, it is a place for me to have fun to make my dad happy. You just have to make your company look organized. Besides, if you find any acquaintances of yours from that world, such as a locomotive, remember to tell me. Do you understand? The troublesome pair finally nodded and confirmed, understood. But even though she nodded, she still didn't shake the locomotive, so she was very tolerant. Azu smiled and didn't care. Because she is just a mortal, her role in the timeline is negligible, and she cannot hide it from the gems. He saw the locomotive directly in time. I saw the place where he and the troublesome pair parted. Following this location and time, the power of the gems continued to spread, and Azu quickly locked onto the target. Whoosh! He flew at low altitude, disappeared and reappeared, already carrying the locomotive with a frightened look on his face. Thump! Throw the locomotive to the ground. Azu thought for a while and took the two of them directly to the farm. At this time, the sun was 3 poles high. At the farm, Guan Fuyun had already gotten up and sent the magical girl Wanda to school. When picking him up, he was even kissed by Wanda. At the moment, I am repairing the kitchen and land that were damaged by Godzilla, leisurely and busy with some chores. Suddenly, I saw Azu appearing with a locomotive and a pair in each hand. Guan Fuyun, where did this come from? Is this still the Marvel world? Dad, you may not believe it, but the two worlds are integrating. Azu said seriously, there will be another me who wants to be my son. Guan Fuyun, I believe it. Guan Fuyun said again, it doesn't matter, even if there are countless parallel universes and countless yous, I will only have one good eldest son. You are unlike any other John, Azu. As soon as these words came out, Azu showed a silly smile and was happy for a long time before he said with a frown, but Dad, in those parallel timelines, I saw the boy who is my biological father. In a trembling, nervous, and low voice, Azu told the story about the foot-scratching boy and the worries he had always had. If a child is born without nurturing, he is not worthy of being a father. Besides, he doesn't even know he gave birth to you. Guan Fuyun smiled, patted Azu on the shoulder, and said firmly, "You don't need to worry about this, Azu. If the boy knows something, or if he doesn't know about it at all, you can just leave it alone. Just treat him like a passerby. If he tries to snatch you away from me, I will make him disappear instead of hating you. Don't worry." The words fell. The big stone in Azu's heart also fell. Bite, child no. 1 Azu, his gratitude level has increased. 99%, 100%. Hidden rewards, regional entries, a world of its own. A world of its own. After assigning an entry to a certain area, the place becomes a world of its own, with controllable seasons and controllable climate. It will not be destroyed by external forces and can be relocated as the host wishes. 6. Unexpectedly, there are also hidden entry types. Guan Fuyun did not hesitate and gave the entry to the farm. In an instant, the spring breeze blew, the summer rain fell, the autumn harvest was refreshing, and the winter was not cold. The 4 seasons changed around him, like 4 elves dancing around the supreme god. He plants a seed. It fell to the ground in 1 second, then took root, sprouted, blossomed and bore fruit, turning into a large seedless watermelon. Come and eat. After freezing it with casket of ancient winters, Guan Fuyun first gave Azu half a melon and a spoon, and then cut 2 pieces of melon for Zhanqili and Locomotive. At this time, the 2 of them had completely forgotten their fear and were deeply shocked by the miracle displayed by Guan Fuyun. This is definitely not something that compound number 5 can create. Is this really another world, another? Azu. Stunned, unbelievable. The expression of the obstruction pair is extremely exaggerated and rich, as if he had really seen a train blowing in the deep sea. The Locomotive has a Wang Defa look on his face, which feels like another transplant of Blue Eagle's heart, which is absolutely ridiculous. Until Guan Fuyun said, "Eat, again." Only then did the 2 of them react. They took the watermelon flattered and continued to be dumbstruck while holding it. "Don't be afraid," Guan Fuyun said. "My great son Azu is different from the super ability giant baby you have in mind. He is better, more powerful, and at the same time more emotionally stable. He really can't be bothered to run you over. So, Zhanqili, can you stay and be the CEO of the company and help us deal with some trivial matters?" Obstacle Li nodded crazily. "Of course, this is my honor." She was afraid of Azu alone, and when he was coupled with Guan Fuyun, she became relaxed. Because there is no point in being afraid. Why not just study hard and give it a try? Maybe she can reach the top of her life again. She is somewhat career-minded. Guan Fuyun looked at the Falcon's twin brother, the Locomotive. These 2 are really similar. But in the 4th season, Locomotive, who has completed his redemption, becomes more and more pleasing to the eye, and is much more handsome than the later correct Captain Falcon. He is also handsome compared to Abyss, who has completely become a joker. Guan Fuyun glanced at him, nodded, and said nothing. He is not sure whether the current Locomotive still needs to continue to be a star. Just go with the train. Anyway, there are a lot of superheroes in New York, and if you don't catch them, there will be others who will do them. Dad is still awesome. As soon as Jian Guan Fuyun took action, he killed the 2 of them. Azu felt relaxed and happy, eating watermelon and drinking milk happily. He said, "Listen to Dad and you will win. Looking at the whole universe, there is nothing that Dad can't do. Dad is always right." 10 days passed by in a hurry. Guan Fuyun's life has returned to normal and ordinary life. He works on the land and cooks every day, teaches Azu the principles of life, and takes Wanda to school. In the middle, I went to a parent-teacher conference because of a school shooting. Every night, Guan Fuyun, Wanda, and Azu sat on Godzilla and watched movies and TV shows together. This aspect all depends on Guan Fuyun's interest. Basically, I watched Let the Bullets Fly, Kung Fu, Westward Journey, Hurry Up, over and over again. It also deeply inspired Azu and Wandabo. At the same time, after Zhanqili became the CEO of the company, she was so moved that she cried when she saw so many real superheroes who didn't need her to wipe their butts. She only needs to make a little effort, and the company will prosper and its reputation will reach a higher level. While Locomotive was surprised by the number of villains in New York, he also really started to save people and put out fires. He enjoyed it. Even only receiving some basic salary, I no longer compete for advertisements and movies. Azu brags with Thor every day. Later Tony came to. Come and apologize. I apologize for my arrogance and mistakes, and kowtow to all the victims. In front of the media and reporters, Tony said this: I admit that I am an ignorant and arrogant arms dealer, at least I was, and in the future, Stark Industries will give up the arms business and transform into new energy. I'm Tony Stark. I suffer from my mistakes, ignorance, and weakness every day, and I am constantly anxious and annoyed. Until I admitted my imperfections. Then, I truly understand the world, I know my own weaknesses, and I know that there will be surprises in the plan. So, I will be the Iron Man who always has a plan to upgrade his armor, and no matter how many times he is defeated, he will stand up and win. I am Iron Man. This news caused a sensation in America. It is almost the only major event that can compete with Dad's company for traffic. Apology: the day Stark Industries transformed. Tony came to find Azu. After being rejected, Tony put on the Mark armor again and flew around like a fly. So Azu invited him in, filled it with tons of purple sweet potatoes, and said, after eating these, I will take you to my farm. Is this difficult? Tony smiled disdainfully and started eating directly, coming and eating every day. After 10 days of eating, I finally vomited and was hospitalized for food poisoning. Azu asked the troublemaker to send someone to perform Yanko in Tony's ward, and the gongs and drums were noisy. Tony's face was like a purple potato, red and very uncomfortable. Mr. Zhu, you were riding a horse, what a disgusting operation. Vomit. At the same time. First, there is no Tesseract, and second, there is no Bifrost. Loki, sitting on the Chidori biological battleship, has arrived at the Blue Star. Of course, he was discovered by S.H.I.E.L.D. But with the power of the spiritual scepter, he easily controlled and concealed everything. He even found the secret base of braised eggs, came to Shoujiao Boy, and released a golden song. Boom, 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 swinging boy plus mousy singing equals 0 frame of chest shot. The top-notch body and top-notch superpowers from Compound Number 5 appeared in the Marvel world, and the boy easily destroyed Luodin's base, leaving corpses everywhere. At the same time, the crazy boy with his swaying feet also attracted the attention of another famous medicine man. Steve Rogers. Hearing that a supervillain had appeared and Lu Dan had nothing to do, Steve came with a vibranium shield. 2 American captains and 2 S.H.I.E.L.D. men met. The atmosphere instantly became tense. Bro, are you still carrying the shield? Or you cuz me? After the chest massage, the boy was a little weak, but his voice was colder and harder. No one can replace me. I could fight you all day, Steve said. After saying that, he was slapped in the head by the weak Shoujiao Boy, and his brains flew to the tree. Yes, although in the movies and comics, Steve can always appear in the C position with his anti-science and anti-physics shield. Although whether it is Thanos, Heavenly Father, or the Celestial Team, he can use the shield to fight against several moves. It seems like the fight was very intense and hardy. But in reality, Steve is a super fool. In the style of Black Rogue, he has no way to survive. On the set of Avengers 1, Loki only used the Mind Scepter to control Hawkeye, Eric Shavig, and some miscellaneous soldiers, causing chaos in S.H.I.E.L.D. And now, he has a footboy. The physical strength that can gargle an AK, the strength that can knock a car flying several streets and smash through a wall, the speed that can catch up with Huey's buttocks, and a chest cannon that penetrates and shatters buildings. And the most important thing is the black robe style that he carries with him. This style is not suitable for buff monsters. In short, the configuration of Shoujiao Boy is very strong. The softest part of his body is his shield. This shield isn't bad. After seizing Steve's miscellaneous vibranium shield, the boy got even more excited. It's as if Watt Company cultivated the people of the motherland and then was backlashed. Luodin wanted to use the squeaky boy as a secret weapon, his own horse boy, but in the end he was blown up and the base was blown up to the sky. Under the interference of the spiritual scepter, everyone looks like an old version of Waltz 7. The Avengers are back. Fake. The boy smoked a cigarette, exhaled the fragrance, and turned into Captain Honey with his small mouth, and was infinitely arrogant. He can block almost all attacks with his vibranium shield. He can tear apart almost any opponent with his hands. In an instant, the intimidation of the squeaky boy increased rapidly, increased rapidly, increased rapidly. Kill, 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 kill. Who else in New York City can stop this horse-riding man? Who else can stop him? Commander Steve Rogers, who had just summoned Steve Rogers, was dumbfounded and could only stammer, You are a fool, you can't, no. You can't do this, you can't talk. Why not? I am the best at riding horses. I can do whatever I want. The boy went berserk and hijacked the braised egg and headed straight to the center of New York City. Loki smiled evilly. Oh, this guy is so powerful and has strong teeth. Chitauri Legion. New York, say goodbye to your glamour. Lu Dan. Shield. Save me. Don't tell me yet. As soon as I heard that the most stubborn Luoden, who liked to keep silent and pretend to be an expert, was caught, the whole world went crazy. The SHIELD Security Council held a meeting directly and stated that they would rescue Luodan at all costs. Yes, although the SHIELD Security Council usually only insults, attacks, and laughs at the braised eggs, they are more anxious than anyone else when the braised eggs are really about to be sent. Without braised eggs don't require funding, how can they make progress? Not to mention the braised eggs. Even the Hydras are really anxious and angry right now, and they have to do their best to protect the braised egg. After all, the SHIELD, which requires a lot of money and a lot of personal ability, relies on deceiving the Skrulls to earn merit. It's really a once-in-a-millennium experience. If the braised eggs are gone, who will feed Hydra? The money they spent to build the company has not yet been earned back. Commander Nick Fury has always been our good director, comrade in arms, and brother. If something happens to him, something happens to S.H.I.E.L.D. We must save people. At the S.H.I.E.L.D. internal meeting, Garrett made an impassioned speech, and his beautiful words were so upright and awe-inspiring, with a sad expression, as if he was in pain. Crossbones also said, Nick Fury has taken great care of me. If someone dies for being a confidant, I will definitely repay him with my life and blood. Agent Ward also said that he has always regarded braised eggs as his idol. Me too. Coulson was so moved that he cried. He didn't expect that his dear mentor would have such a high status in everyone's minds. Woohoo, we S.H.I.E.L.D. are really loving lumberjacks. Hydras. Okay, if Luoden is really dead, I will make you the chief. So what is the situation in New York at this time? It can only be said that dark clouds are threatening to destroy the city. In the movie, because of the Tesseract, the Chitauri are really like sending out troops from a spring, one line at a time. Not anymore. Then the whole army can only attack. The densely packed corps and battleships broke through the clouds and physically blocked the sunlight as soon as they appeared. Turn off the lights in New York. Although these Chitauri warships can obviously sail in space, they can be destroyed by nuclear bombs. Although these flying bugs can even be shot down by an eagle eye. Although those aliens riding motorcycle airships will just fly around like flies after entering the city, being swatted by shields and beaten by Black Widows. Although the motorcycle airship did not have any protective shield, its firepower was only a light machine gun, which was everywhere. After fighting for a long time, it could not even penetrate the door of a car. But Milligan is also a hot chick. Now that the United States is devoting all its resources and developing all its industries, it is estimated that it can defeat the Hussein. Forget about fighting aliens. Disaster relief is a product of socialism. The government owes you nothing. Don't always think about what the country can do for you. Don't be part of the problem, but be the one who solves the problem. On the TV station, after saying this, the mayor of New York went to the president with his soldiers and horses to go on vacation together, chatting and laughing and having fun. This is also the reason why there are basically no military scenes or villains in Milliken's superhero movies. You can be imaginative, but not too sci-fi. In this case, the feeling of New Yorkers is that they are going to die, and they are tired of destroying it. Quote. Watching the sky constantly stacking up, almost thicker than the earth, there are almost endless alien core. In the ICU, Tony was also silent. Although he is confident and even arrogant, it is obviously impossible to fight against an entire alien army. Moreover, neither Luoden nor S.H.I.E.L.D. can be contacted at the moment. You can't expect them to come fully armed for travel, right? Jarvis, Tony said, armor. Armor. Okay, sir. Along with the electronic synthesis sound, Iron Man's parts flew in from all directions, and the armor was assembled. Huge amounts of data streamed past my eyes. Tony was stunned. Because he saw, at this time of crisis, people in New York have also made an effort. They are frantically leaving messages, comments, tips, and calls. To Dad's company, hey, brother Spider-Man, quickly put on your black uniform and step on the sky full of spider webs to spray me. Hulk, smash, destroy as much as you like. Even if you are the enemy of the world, we will stand behind you. Do you know how hard Thor works? Please don't scream, filial son. Is it honorable to be a green filial son? That's enough. I think Spider Dutiful Son is the best. Why don't you give Locomotive a call? Are you a knight or a non-chief? Locomotive will kill you. The big stage in New York, if there is a job, come and do it. They even had a fight. Normally, Tony would have died speechless. But now, he was actually shocked, because he really saw superheroes organized into formations, with unified command and unified dispatch. Walked out of Dad's company. There are Thor, Hulk, Spider-Man, and Locomotive, as well as X-Men and mutants, who are the main battle units. The company's employees, the Hydras, are collaborative units, information collection individuals, and photographers. Charles, hurry up, quickly control ordinary people with your brain and control them away from the city center. Move fast and pose handsomely. Chow-Ying from the street office, follow Spider-Man to clear the enemy line. Remember to say your lines. Thor goes up to the sky to hammer their commander. Don't forget to advertise. Hulk, smash it. Keep in touch. If anyone is disconnected, please get immediate support from the nearest location. Anyone who doesn't listen to the company's schedule will be kept in hiding in the future and will not receive any advertising, endorsements, or film cooperation. Where's the Criminal Intelligence Department? Use the satellite. The Public Relations Department is preparing to clean up the floor, and there is some dirty water to pour on Miletian. The hot center will show the traffic changes of each star. We're going to get rich. We're going to get rich. Ha 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 ha. In Dad's company and the CEO's office, Zan Shili became excited. She felt like a heavyweight now. In the past, if she had the right to speak and the strength of the army, she could directly beat John to his knees and turn him into a slave. Of course it's not too late. What kind of aliens are riding horses? She is fighting aliens. This battle must be fought beautifully. Because as soon as the Chitauri Corps appeared, Mr. Zhu was called back to the farm. Now, Guan Fuyun is sitting on Godzilla, holding Wanda in his arms, holding a peanut and melon seed coke, watching Azu adjust the satellite video, and using the time stone to call up the picture to supplement it. Yes, he was watching a movie and was immersed in the scene. I'm even considering going to the battlefield to pick up a figure or something. Just very relaxed. Okay, Dad, it's done. With a smile on his face, Azu arranged the satellite live broadcast, the time stone screen supplement, and even made a barrage by the way. Then sit down happily. While listening to Dad talking, having fun with Godzilla, and playing games, you can watch the live broadcast of the Battle of New York when you look up. The actors are all familiar to me. This feeling is amazing. It's certainly refreshing to see your own success and ease, but wouldn't it be even more satisfying to see the hard work of an acquaintance? Enjoyed it a lot. If you want to scare yourself again, for example, imagine that those aliens are coming to the farm, their purpose is to pull out all the vegetable seedlings, and then let out a jealous laugh. Then the sense of immersion can be even stronger, and the sense of crisis will simply explode. Azu took over. Next to Guan Fuyun, he seemed to have turned into the little boy who had just escaped from the laboratory. His whole body was tense and he was observing the world nervously. Playing games with this kind of emotion, he can kill Guan Fuyun and win every game. Crackling. A set of arcade combos that beat the old man until he grinned, his expression was ferocious, and he was a mask of pain. Then look at the hot pot in front of you. Steaming hot. Snow-white fat pork is rolling in the pot. The thin part is like a touch of red in the depths of the white clouds. It is smudged in the red oil soup and tastes spicy. The fat around it is undulating due to the shredded ginger and Sichuan peppercorns. The tip of the nose is full of fragrance. Pair it with a sip of farm milk. The taste is simply amazing. At this moment, outside, the busier New York City was, the more comfortable and happy Azu felt. Fight, fight, fighting is fun. Hey hey, Guan Fuyun. He looked at Azu Shenjin and giggled from time to time, not knowing what to say. Wanda remained silent throughout the whole process. As soon as she got home, she clung to Guan Fuyun like a koala and posted them like crazy. Especially now, the girl Wanda has just taken a shower, her face is reddish, her hair is wet, and she looks like a neighbor. Weirdly cute. Guan Fuyun couldn't help but rub her face while watching the live broadcast with great joy. According to the Hydra information brought by Azu, the boy appeared, killed Steve Rogers, and took the shield. But it doesn't matter. The Marvel world of New York is filled with immortals, including a super soldier. There is not much of a footboy but a busty boy. Meow. New York, accompanied by Loki's pretentious declaration of, "I declare something, I am God." The Chitauri Corps came out in full force. New York is now a state of complete anarchy. Crowd evacuation is controlled by Professor. This is also considered a great merit. You know, it's different from how it's organized in the movies. There is no such mechanism as disaster as an order in the capital country. The American army will only enter the scene fully armed when suppression is needed. Therefore, among any disasters, the second greatest disaster is human beings. I usually buy it for 0 yuan. During the disaster season, killing, plundering, alkali, all the crimes that humans can commit are untouchable during this period. You can imagine how crazy it would be. Professor. But it can also be seen from here that Professor X's ability has the most fatal weakness. He can't control aliens. His ability will always be limited to Blue Star, and he will never be able to become a universe-level character. And therefore, in Professor X's mental perception, those green, goblin-like Skrulls who work for Halogen do not exist. When they saw the dense crowd, the Chitauri were like locusts and killed them. In the building of Dad's company, Professor X held his breath. Although he didn't know anything about aliens, no matter what he thought, these guys who could travel through the stars, with such advanced technology, must be very powerful in combat. It would be reasonable to at least be able to easily destroy the human army. Even before the fight started, he was already worried. It's not just him. At this moment, the humans living on this planet all have a feeling of wanting to express themselves, and they are stimulated. Are you afraid, Charles? Suddenly, a mocking voice came from behind Professor X. Yes, Professor, I'm not willing to lose. Become a social role. Old Magneto crossed his arms and flew over on iron pieces, saying, "Is this your ideal? How ridiculous. This is every mutant's ideal, Eric." Professor No. Professor X added, "Isn't it because you understood this that you came here?" Snort. Do something, Eric. Snort. When I beg you, after so many years of love. HMPH. Charles, you are arrogant and arrogant when you open Xavier Academy for Geniuses. If you come here to work, your life or death will be uncertain. You are a bit clever in asking me to blame you, but I, Magneto, cannot work part-time. This impossible in your lifetime. Magneto looked arrogant and opened his hands. Swish 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 swish. He couldn't tell whether it was 10,000 guns or 100,000 guns. They were raised in an instant and pointed at the sky uniformly. Then, fire. Da da da. Gunfire flickered, and a torrent of metal rose from the ground. At the moment of contact, it cleared away the Chitauri soldiers and blasted them into pieces and scraps of flesh. This amazing result shocked even Professor X and Magneto. The two of them originally thought that the best-case scenario would be a hard fight, but they couldn't just pretend to be cool and run away. Is this the result? Are you trying to make fun of Blue Star with this little strength? Brother. 6. Professor X said. HMPH. You have a strong mind but simple limbs. You useless old guy should have called me 6 a long time ago. Magneto said in an old-fashioned tone. Quote. Professor X was silent for a moment and said, Eric. Quote. You should watch less of our company's short videos. At your age, you can no longer absorb the essence. They are all dross. HMPH. Still being stubborn, Charles. Needless to say, the scene with tens of thousands of people was really spectacular, and old Bidden knew how to show off. This wave created momentum. Let's take a look. Wong Defa, do aliens also eat bullets? This time the spirit came up. Jarvis, where's your Italian cannon? Tony's eyes lit up. Although Stark Industries had transformed, it still had a large arms inventory. He gave the order. Whoosh whoosh. Stark Industries directly emptied its inventory, and the dense missiles suddenly rose up like bamboo shoots, blasting the Chidori biological warship to pieces and turning a large number of miscellaneous soldiers into charcoal. Chidori took a look and realized that this was not possible. The starship's firepower is at a disadvantage. So the strategy was changed, and the biological warships crashed down one after another. While crashing through the building, they also provided space for the soldiers to end. But this time it kicked off the fairy nest even more. The superheroes who had been prepared for a long time rushed out shouting, "Promotion and salary increase, photograph me more handsome, fans, brother is here." First, there is a blue flying man, the locomotive. Dirty. He roared through the air, and the friction between his body and the air made a sound similar to a train whistle. In an instant, it resounded throughout New York. The strength, extreme speed, and super fast reactions that can pull a train, and he has regained his peak physical strength after transplanting the Blue Eagle heart. And, after redeeming oneself, the mentality of knowing what a superhero really is made him faster and stronger. Look, it's a locomotive. Woohoo, he's so fast, so cool. Can you sign your name? As the war situation improves, Professor X's mind control is gradually released, allowing the tough citizens to join him. But those fans' exclaims, pursuits, and tentacles of fame and fortune can no longer catch up with the locomotive. He ran as hard as he could, elbowing and crushing one Chidori after another, and even gave a body armor to Quicksilver, who was about to be killed by a bullet. Chapter 51. Thanks. Quicksilver put on his body armor, picked up the weapon from the ground, and shot at top speed, trying to save his face. The locomotive smiled and continued running. He was just enjoying it. This scene was seen by some fans. The abstract short video clip of Locomotive plus Quicksilver, First Silver, made its grand debut and became popular. Hulk, smash it. Other side. Under the influence and transformation of the company's atmosphere, Banner also realized Hulk's commercial value and star effect. Scientists who are powerless will be hunted down by Milligan. But being a monster is a wonderful life. Yes, it was not him who was wrong, but Milligan. Banner said in his heart. Cough, Hulk. Then have Iron Man throw himself where the Chidori are most. Throwing objects from high altitude. Banner, Hulk, that huge amount of green monster, can knock away a bunch of soldiers with one punch, and can jump and scream, and can tear apart biological battleships with his hands. It only takes a moment. It cleared a block of aliens. The Chidori fought for a long time and found that the defenses were not broken at all, so they broke through the defenses themselves. No, bro, are you Blue Star people so outrageous? Are there any normal ones? Can't afford to offend. As soon as they saw the Hulk barking, the Chidori almost had PTSD, and they shot and moved their targets intentionally or unintentionally. This time, it turned to Thor. Although he is still Brother Hammer, his output is really no joke. Asgard is thousands of years ahead of Blue Star in terms of technology and life forms. Thor, as one of the leaders, showed off his power, with every move as powerful as a missile. From time to time, sparks and lightning are produced, which are cool and explosive. One person dominates the airspace. There is no single enemy. Nice. Shredded coconut. Inside the company, the troublemaker was concentrating on commanding the heroes. Let's turn the situation around. The heroes are unstoppable. Zanshili is behind, arranging short video editing, streaming, advertising and line collection. She has been holding back until now, and she has held it back until she met Azu and Mr. Guan, and switched to another Ming dynasty. She once again became the CEO of the company. She wanted to fight for it. She didn't want to prove how great she was. She just wanted to put herself under the influence of woe. Take back the dreams and passion that special company took away. Of course, there's hair. And at this time, on SHIELD's floating carrier, the famous top agent Black Widow and Ronin Hawkeye. Arriving at the New York battlefield in a very arrogant and stylish manner. Then, start fighting hand to hand with the soldiers. The two sides were fighting each other passionately, coming and going. It seemed lively, but in fact, I didn't know what they were doing. Of course, New York isn't just about superheroes. Those who can carry guns and fight, and some villains. Such as Kingpin. He was patted twice by Guan Fuyun, which was a supreme honor and vaguely represented some kind of will of that gentleman. It can also be said to be destiny. The entire New York underworld trembled and surrendered. As the king of the underground world, as a lucky villain who can be the enemy of Spider-Man, Daredevil, and almost all heroes at the same time. How could the Kingpin tolerate aliens on his doorstep? Horse riding. He didn't become the king of the underground world and had to swallow his anger. He became the king of the underground world and still had to cower in front of aliens. Then isn't his progress in vain? Aliens have special physiques. Don't fight head-on, fight fiercely. Kingpin carried a rocket launcher and went out to kill. Behind him are villains like Bullseye, gang members, and powerful firepower. Even street superheroes such as Daredevil, Stickman, and Luke Cage followed suit. The main theme is that Jonghu returns to Jonghu, and aliens return to aliens. The grudges are clear. If, like Guan Fuyun, you have a satellite perspective, you can view the time stone's images. You will find out. The entire New York stage, this battlefield where demons dance wildly, has several main war zones. The first one is Dad's company. With the building of the Seven as the core, the battlefield continues to expand outwards, sweeping all directions and becoming invincible. The second one is Stark Tower. Clearing out the arms inventory in one fell swoop not only allowed Tony to show his strength, but also created a safe zone. The third is the floating carrier and the area below it. Whether it is Hydra or an Aegis agent, there is only one identity at this moment, human. Both sides worked together, and their fighting power was quite impressive. But when I think about Hydra, which was originally dormant, it was forced to save the world by the broken Aegis. Guan Fuyun just wanted to laugh. The fourth and fifth are around Kingpin's Fisk building and 177A Bleecker Street in Manhattan, which is Greenwich Village. As the New York office of Karmatage, although it will not take strict control of this kind of crisis that does not belong to the magic world. But the Chidori Corps is coming to attack, so they can't just sit idly by and ignore it, right? Although the Supreme Master Wanda is in Guan Fuyun's arms. But the Executive Deputy Supreme Master Lao Wang is not a vegetarian either. As soon as he sat at the door, a batch of Chidori fish came in, and he drew a circle and sent them to Domu, where they could be scrapped with one click, which was very convenient. After being beaten up by Wanda and mainly frightened by Guan Fuyun, Domu is now in an emo state of, already honest and begging to be let go, which is perfect as a trash can. As for Lao Lu, it is the Bacchus building. Stationed here are the famous Fantastic Four. These four are all heavyweights. They are also in the first echelon in Marvel and are popular. Their upper limit of strength is ridiculously high, and they can really break through the sky. However, at this stage, the four heroes are still in their infancy, and their ability has just awakened. Basically, he is a nerd, a nerdy girl, a spirited guy, and a stone man who only knows how to punch. Moreover, they also met the red-eyed boy. When the boy saw the thunderbolt, he had a look of doubt on his face, wondering if he had taken too many drugs and was hallucinating. "Didn't I just kill you?" As the boy said, he casually pinched a passerby to death. Revenge, so cool. Ignition. The Human Torch also has a bad temper, and when he sees the bratty boy killing innocent people indiscriminately, he immediately gets angry. Then he was knocked away by a shield. When the other three heroes saw this, they were like, oh, they have never seen such a brave person. 4 against 1, I have the advantage. They shouted, friendship, bond, justice, and so on, and started beating them randomly. The squeaky-footed boy was able to gain the upper hand with a thump and a thump, but he soon discovered that the physiques of these 4 people were incredible. It can't be killed at all. The two sides just went back and forth, each throwing away skills and special effects, fighting fiercely, and living a bloody life. Then the question comes. The cute new Fantastic Four versus the boy, who is killing the aliens. Who is improving the score? Boom. At this time, in the distance of the Bacchus building, 18 streets away. A Chidori biological battleship fell like a whale. Many soldiers lost weight as the battleship disintegrated, shouting frantically, reinforcements. We need reinforcements. The words have not yet finished. Stab. The electric light penetrated their throats and killed them. Boom, boom, boom. A heavy voice sounded. On top of the fragments of the battleship, a man with metal-like skin, arcs wrapped around his body, a hooded green cloak hanging behind him, and a steel-covered monster seemed to be coming towards destruction. Stop screaming. His voice was cold and hard, as harsh as the death god, with hysterical madness suppressed and graceful. Dead man, no reinforcements are needed. Click. As he spoke, the iron-faced mecha popped open, revealing a face that was very or even 9 times similar to Tony Stark. His name is Victor Von Doom. He has returned from space. If Kingpin is an evergreen tree among villains, he is a lucky one. Doom is the protagonist among the villains. And it's long a ocean. This supervillain in the Marvel world, a master of both technology and magic, a supervillain and the king of Eastern Europe, and even the god Doom. Right now, I'm still in the novice stage. But unlike the Magic 4, who just opened the server, don't create a new account, and know nothing, Doom's combat IQ and destructive power have already been demonstrated. Just like in movies and comics, Doom's plan to develop cosmic energy completely failed. In terms of setting, Marvel's smartest and most brilliant teammate, Reed Richards, who can say that Tony shit is a little fool, and who everyone has high hopes for, made a mistake in a key calculation of the space station design. He underestimated the power of cosmic energy, and the space station was as brittle as chicken paper. Therefore, when the cosmic energy came, Doom was affected even if he was in the space station. His skin hardened into a metal-like cuticle, and he also gained the ability to absorb electricity. Compared to the Burning Fruit's Human Torch, the Nika Fruit's magical pig teammates, Susan, and the Stone Man, Doom's ability can only be said to be scraps and not strong enough. But, as the saying goes, the equipment does not have enough talent to make up for it. Dr. Doom became familiar with the superpowers and developed combat effectiveness in just a few clicks. The investment failed, the company went bankrupt, and his ex-girlfriend Susan, also known as the Invisible Girl, simply abandoned him. The culprit who caused all this, Wonder Pig teammate Reed Richards, not only did not feel any guilt at all, he continued to be popular and supported by others, and even took over the Invisible Woman with peace of mind and fell in love directly. He retorted, "We are true love, and, why are you against us? I'll clean you up." This horse riding. When watching the movie back then, Guan Fuyun was shocked. If he wasn't a buddy, who was the villain? This experience is even more tragic than the original Juggalo. Blacken is really abnormal. If this doesn't destroy the world, Doom can be called Dr. Forgiveness. Later, I learned about the various tricks of the Wonder Pig teammates. For example, in the Avengers Civil War incident, Reed used the technology Thor to kill Goliath with one move. Another example is the famous Hulk World War incident, which was thought up by Reed. Another example is injecting teammates with zombie viruses and saying that becoming zombies is the progress of mankind. Mr. Fantastic is a world-shaking wisdom. I don't know if it is wise or not, but it must be world-shaking. The so-called smartest human beings don't show how smart they are. But Mr. Fantastic's mental retardation is concretely reflected in various comics. There are countless anti-IQ and anti-IQ operations, which make people laugh. All I can say is that the character Mr. Fantastic is the perfect reflection of Milliken. He's the kind of Joker who says, "They all laugh at you, but you are the funniest." Now, seeing that his magic pig teammate was still so mentally retarded, Guan Fuyun suddenly smiled with relief. Azu saw his father happy and smiled with him. Guan Fuyun, why are you laughing? When Dad is happy, I am happy. Azu said with a silly smile, "What makes Dad happy?" "Because I saw my magical pig teammates." Official Fuyun came talking. After hearing this, the Azu almost burst out laughing. That's it. The smartest person in the world. A superhero. In terms of contribution, he is not as good as the other me. Sure enough, you have to stay away from Chaoying, otherwise you will become unfortunate. Wanda believed deeply. Roar. Godzilla groaned. It's true. Guan Fuyun agreed. When it comes to killing people, how can a villain be better than a superhero? Big events and restarts happen at every turn. Especially DC next door. With a name and a surname, even the Gotham Joker can happily restart, reopen, and continue to do evil. Ordinary people only need to be destroyed continuously. Anyway, if you don't give a picture, you won't be dead. I don't know what happened to the hero. So, the essence of the world is super, the strong take all, not heroes. Azu pretended to be mature. He is also an 8-year-old big shot now. Is this why you need supervision and hearing to play games? Guan Fuyun said calmly. Dad, that's not important, just practice cooking more. Quote. Guan Fuyun's head snapped over, and Azu covered his head and bared his teeth, but he looked at the boy in the picture, being defeated and taken into custody by the Fantastic Four. He couldn't help but laugh with schadenfreude. This little boy has a bit of a father-worrying gene in his heart. As for the braised eggs, others were still alive at the cost of sacrificing a Skrull. Now that Luodin has returned to S.H.I.E.L.D., he is facing a lot of, "Commander, what are we going to do?" questions. Braised Egg can only pretend to be an expert by not talking. Wait until everyone disperses. While there was no one in the office, he contacted the CEO of Dad's company and said he wanted to cooperate and make progress together. When Obstacle Lee heard this, he said, "Buddy, you came here to grab traffic, right? How powerful are you?" Nick Fury, have you been fooled by Shabifik? This is not a rhetorical question, answer me. You didn't come when we started a team, and you pretended to be dead when we started Black. Now you're strategizing and giving guidance. Take medicine if you are sick. If you don't have a job, go eat the train. She directly scolded Lu Dan like a dog and then hung up the phone. New York, fighting, cool. It stands to reason that with so many immortals in the city, the Chitauri should have been killed long ago and turned into a record. But this time, Thanos did not leave everything to Loki, but commanded from behind. Previously, its understanding of Blue Star was that there was a new Heavenly Father no less powerful than Odin. But now, it feels it has underestimated the planet. Strategies must change. Change tactics. Thanos remotely controlled and gave an order, and the Chitauri no longer sent them away en masse, but maximized their numerical and flight advantages. Wave after wave, harassment battles began. This time it was really fatal. Regardless of whether they are superheroes or villains, although they are quite magical, they still have to eat. I'm really not good at playing all the time. Although now, because the Chitauri forces have shrunk, the immortals are more relaxed. But they will be tired and weak. Even a laser eye with infinite light can still suffer from cervical spondylosis. But the Chitauri soldiers are here, and it's not enough to just ignore them. After spending more than 50 hours like this, the heroes finally got tired. But the Chitauri core is still black and dense, like endless locusts. Seeing that the Chitauri core was about to attack forcefully. Whoosh, 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 da da da, boom. There were continuous sounds of breaking through the air, and a lot of Iron Man's armors flew towards me. Tony fell from the sky, and another handsome superhero landed, and then said playfully, "Did you miss me?" Don't tell me yet. As for Iron Man's armors, the firepower of each one exceeds that of Wakanda, which has the strongest technology of Blue Star, but can only throw spears. On the set of Avengers, a war machine can guard a country with its constant firepower. And now, Tony has many such iron shells. He perfectly connected the gap period of the Premier League. Oh, that's awesome. Spider-Man stood on his head and said, he saw Tony was also filming videos and making TikTok, and asked doubtfully, "You are not an employee of the company, are you?" "But I'm hot." After successfully pretending to be cool, Tony was in a good mood and said, "Very beautiful. You don't seem worried about the end of the world." Spider-Man. Tony smiled but said nothing. He really wasn't worried. Because the real boss, not to mention Guan Fuyun, who is so mysterious that it defies all physics, even Azu has not appeared yet. This shows that the problem is not big at all. Right. With the relay of the Iron Core, the superheroes also had time to rest and suit up, but I don't know if there was a problem when integrating the two worlds of Black Robe and Marvel. The locomotive actually caught Blue Eagle again in the melee. At that time, Blue Eagle was beating up the braised eggs together with the aliens. Quote. The locomotive first has a black face, and then it goes up to a top speed. Then listen to Azu's words. Report all people, objects, and information related to the Black Robe. Don't kill him. Don't kill him. Guan Fuyun learned of the situation and ordered Lan Ying, also known as Accessories Man. Super ability means that organ transplantation will not cause any rejection reactions. With him, it is no longer a dream for Professor X to stand up. Alzheimer's disease may also be prevented. Cyclops cervical spondylosis has also been cured. And the hair is getting in the way. From now on, Blue Eagle organ transplant services will be included in the company's employee benefits. As soon as these words came out, Dad, grab the bamboo shoots, grab the bamboo shoots. Azu laughed so much that he sprayed milk, laughed, and beat the ground. He was so happy. So cool. As expected, Dad still knows how to be a good man. Azu thought to himself that he had to look hard and study hard. Then, the Blue Eagle is used as an organ culture dish, imprisoned underground where no detector can detect it. At the same time, as the battle progressed, the Chitauri were ultimately defeated. Loki, where's the promised giants of Jotunheim and Orochi? In the communicator, Thanos asked. The only responses to it were the video sounds of, "Oh, what are you doing?" and, "Hello everyone, I am Thor who has been practicing for 2.5 years. Thanos was so angry that he smiled inexplicably. Hey. Okay. He is truly the god of trickery. This little troublemaker tricked himself into a prank. At this moment, Loki must be very happy and cheerful, right? Hope he doesn't die. Thanos was calm and composed, and smiled coldly, saying that Loki was a pawn used for testing. So, it will, of course, also send out its real henchman. Thor seems to have become stronger again. Yagua butterfly, fox squid. In a dark corner of New York City, Loki gritted his teeth and stared at Thor darkly. The Chitauri Legion is useless. Of course he also knew that the situation was over. I can only say that my failure is shameful, but Thor's success is even more heart-wrenching. Loki feels too painful. As for Thanos' mission, he, Loki, lives between heaven and earth. How can he live in depression for a long time under human beings? Even his biological father in Giants of Jotunheim, he can kill and butcher. Not to mention Thanos, a mere adoptive father. For deceiving the old farmer Thanos, Loki felt no guilt and even felt happy. It's okay for the Chitauri Corps to send out mail. His spiritual scepter is not a disadvantage either. Loki played tricks and used magic plus mind scepter all the way to Stark Tower and watched Tony land. Gia. Then he smiled evilly, appeared, and tapped the spiritual scepter. He finally saw it. The Chitauri, the biological battleships, and the interstellar voyages are all just paper. Only Tony is made of steel. Instead of counting on those alien soldiers, it is better to steal directly. As long as you control Tony, you have Iron Man plus Iron Core. Maybe Thor can be beaten by then. Bite. The idea is very beautiful, but the spiritual scepter is pointed out and clicked on the reactor, making a crisp sound. Then it was gone. The reactor, which was upgraded indirectly through the space gem, and the mind gem scepter offset each other. Nothing happened. Tony. Loki. The two looked at each other, and each could see the surprise and incomprehension in the other's eyes. Tony was stunned, thinking, "Buddy, who are you? What are you playing at?" Loki was also sluggish, thinking it didn't make sense. Why didn't the psychic scepter work? No, try it again. Bite. The sound is still crisp. Tony paused. Are you here to make fun of me, brother? Loki gritted his teeth and said angrily, "Stop looking down on others. I am the son of Odin, the king of Asgard, the #1 magician in the 9 realms, and the eldest father of the Chitauri Corps." Loki muttered a bunch of words as if announcing the names of dishes, and then divine power emerged, and the magic and the light of the spiritual scepter intertwined. Suddenly, he turned into the thing Tony feared most. He became Thanos. Purple sweet potato essence. Vomit. Tony can't see the purple sweet potato now, let alone the purple sweet potato essence. He suffered a PTSD attack from food poisoning and vomited directly. Vomited in Loki's face. Meow. Luo Tangji roared. "I'm sorry, buddy, you said, if you want to play magic, just play magic, if you want to play equipment, just play equipment. If you have to mix it up, you see, you are unlucky, right? Tony. Give me some paper." Luo Tangji continued to roar, and he was almost broken. Okay. The two of them became strangely harmonious, and both began to clean themselves, be hygienic, and behave decently. Done. I want you to worship me and surrender to me, Tony. Loki returned to the original plot and said ambitiously. Shish. Tony stretched out his finger, covered his lips and shushed, imitating Azu. Look, he's in a hurry. After saying that, he continued to look at his phone. Head down, tribe. What are you looking at? Loki couldn't help it anymore and stretched his head to take a look. Then I saw that Teacher Tony was actually chasing stars and making calls. He clicked on the Hulk's video account and left a paid high-energy message in the comment area. Brother Hulk, look at me. The address is Stark Building. Meow. Seeing this, Loki felt that he was being ignored, and he said angrily, I am destroying New York. There is a fight. Can you be more serious? The words have not yet finished. Boom. Along with the roaring hurricane, the Hulk jumped up. Boom. The green, sandbag-sized fist, like an oversized car, hit Loki's face, hitting him so hard that his mouth became crooked, his face turned into wavy lines, and he was constantly shaking out blood foam. Boom, boom, boom. Before Loki flew out, Hulk grabbed his leg and smashed it, and smashed it wildly. Bah! After smashing it, Hulk said angrily, it's so weak. It's obvious. Tony continued to play with his mobile phone and took photos with Hulk. BA said, I'm very serious about dealing with you. Quote. Loki fell into the pit, lying peacefully, speechless. At this time, he could even see the barrage on Tony's mobile phone. Thor. Hey, isn't this Loki? My stupid auto. Audience. He is the leader of the Chitauri Corps and wants to destroy New York, but he is a rookie and is reassuringly weak. Thor. Sorry everyone, I may have recognized the wrong person. What nonsense, Loki. I don't know him well, don't get involved. Quote. Loki closed his eyes, as hopeless as Lin Dayu. His hanging heart was finally dead, and he died in front of Thor. What a hearty live broadcast. After waiting for a long time, I saw Dr. Doom appear, saw the boy being and saw Loki's famous scene. It was still so funny, and it was even more hilarious to eat it with the barrage. Guan Fuyun was satisfied. With all this fun, Marvel is still a livable place. Z's. He tilted his head and fell asleep directly on Wanda's lap. Wanda was happy and gently covered Guan Fuyun's belly with a quilt. Dad too. Azu stood up and muttered in a low voice. A man who is usually so handsome and mature can actually lose control of his schedule and watch movies all night long. This is very bad for your health. Wanda, take good care of Dad and don't let him catch a cold. Said. He hung the time gem necklace around his neck, wore black-rimmed glasses, and a suit jacket, dressing himself like an office worker. Azu, are you going out? Wanda was curious. Go get the Mind Stone back. Azu smiled and said, although the Reality Stone is most suitable for origin magic power. But if you want to create things you cannot do without the heart. Wanda looked at Guan Fuyun and said absently, there's no rush. Of course there's no rush. Azu nodded and said honestly, it's just a way to get the gems for you. I mainly want to show off, be a good person, cut out some of the weeds that Dad hates, and make the world more to his liking. Well, Wanda thought for a while, and Guan Fuyun seemed to only show disgust towards the Fantastic Four. At that time, he almost vomited while eating snacks. She was confused. But Godfather, didn't you order them to be killed? I am Daddy's son, Wanda. Azu shook his head. My father is in pain, and I am unhappy. I feel very angry when I think that the guy who made my father lose his appetite is still breathing air. Have you ever seen an adult get angry with a child? Dad is the backbone and soul of the family. He is so omniscient and omnipotent, so of course he doesn't bother to look at the Fantastic Four. But I am a child. I am only 8 years old, and I am at the age where I like to kill people. If I want to kill them, I will kill them. I want to kill people and kill them. Just because Guan Fuyun felt uncomfortable, he wanted to kill him. Azu is still so willful. But the difference is that he is really good at life now. If fellow countrymen take action, there is no time for development, and there is no turn-based system where you come and go. By the time the world finds out, the Fantastic Four and those associated with them will already be corpses. Not even the bodies would be left behind. Wanda understands Azu's ability as a human being and feels reassured. Rest assured, I don't need to use my fellow villagers' vests, I can still beat them to death without leaving any hidden dangers or problems. But Azu's requirements for himself are obviously higher, and he also wants to make progress. After he finished speaking, he hugged the mini Godzilla and went out. In New York City, the fighting never stops. But humanity's victory is decided. The question now is how to maximize the fruits of victory. Everyone is crazy about profit. For example, Dad's company. There was gunfire outside, but Shilly hurriedly led a camera crew to meet the Hulk. Hello everyone in front of the screen. This is Dad's company's live broadcast room. Destroy the alien tyranny. New York belongs to us. Save this city, we are taking action. The company's superhero, Hulk. Having defeated the thief leader Loki and captured important mysterious items, let's interview Hulk. The wind howled and the smoke filled the air. Obstacle Lee stood in front of the camera, with war-damaged makeup on her face, holding up a microphone, and loudly said, Hulk, how do you feel? Hulk, smash. Hulk, protect. Hulk, cool. Fans, rise. The Hulk roared in response. Well said. Excellent. Hulk used simple language to express his strength, fearlessness, bravery and dedication, as well as his best wishes to his fans. Please pay attention to each other and live to be 90 in New York. Obstacle Lee burst into tears and said, this is the hero of the company. This is the most popular king, Hulk. As he spoke, Shishili changed his tone again and said, someone will give Loki a good beating and his face will be swollen. Forget it, let's put a sack over his head. This appearance is so eye-catching. This section was cut later. In the company, Hulk is the most obedient and the most popular. But there are many people who are right and wrong. Some people will attack Hulk's appearance, so Hulk will think more about it. Although it is a live broadcast, there is a delay measure. There is no time to operate later. Loki, who was beaten violently for no apparent reason and had his head covered with a sack. May I ask? Interview with Spider-Man next. Obstacle pair. Some people say that Mr. Spider-Man's performance in this battle was not very impressive. How do you evaluate it? I want to throw some ashes in their eyes. Spider-Man danced. Obstacle Lee. Cut this section and replace it with a highly explosive clip of Spider-Man. These two must be the famous Professor X and Magneto. The troublesome pair appears again. Professor X is affable. Hello everyone. Who knows, family members. Magneto also got into trouble again. He took off on Wolverine and killed a large number of Chitauri in front of the camera in the live broadcast room. Then he said proudly, Logan is a man that I can both take and let go. Wolverine almost bit him, but for the sake of mutant program effects and advertising, he endured it. Obstacle Lee's eyes lit up. Okay, this super ability saves special effects. The signing team will contact Eric and open a green channel for him. Boom. At this time, Thor struck down with sparks and lightning. He immediately went to see the baby girl at home. The result, of course, is safety. After all, Hydra is considered the most dangerous group on Blue Star. It is safe to have them as nannies. Obstacle Lee stepped forward to interview. Mr. Two, you have the strongest output in this battle. You have the most highlights. Is there anything you want to say? Thor held the baby girl in his arms and said seriously, I have a lot to say. For example, can you Blue Star people be more feudal? Don't use so many genders. I'm really afraid. It's too abstract. Obstacle pair. She thought for a while and let it be broadcast like this. At this time, the crowd suddenly became commotion, and all the superheroes raised their heads in unison. The troublesome Lee turned around, only to see Azu arriving at some unknown moment, with a bright smile on his face, and said triumphantly, and everyone, my friends, you are the real heroes. For a moment, there was thunderous applause. Mr. Zhu. Brother Zhu, why do you, with your wealth of gold, come to this dangerous place? The superheroes all came forward to ask for help. After all, Azu usually pays them huge sums of money. Hi. Surrounded by the crowd, Azu smiled brightly and cheerfully, like the sun. Rumble. At this time, the noise and fighting in the Bacchus building were very harsh. What's going on? Azu frowned and asked, then started directly, called up the satellite video to watch, and did some tricks. The picture first shows Doctor Doom appearing and fighting aliens. When all the heroes saw this, they exclaimed and applauded. Then suddenly it became 4 against 1 of the Fantastic Four, beating Doctor Doom together. Everyone, they were a little angry. Unlike most superheroes who have to hide their identities, dogs are sneaky. As a reflection of Milliken, the Fantastic Four mainly show their buttocks in broad daylight, and their membership identities are public, making them widely welcomed by the world. Like a little Watts company. Therefore, something like Peter Parker playing Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four will have no chance. But it's okay to let them use their real names to demolish the house. With a kind of malice mixed with curiosity, Azu really wanted to know, among these so-called superheroes, who is weaker than John from another world? Who is easier to play? In my father's words, it's called taking away his name, destroying his shape, killing his heart, and killing his life. That's why Dad speaks so well. Now, Azu, a sunny and cheerful boy, looked at the video with a serious look on his face. After the war, when everyone was in shock, when he was most idle and his balls ached, and when he wanted to surf the internet the most. Live in front of the whole world. Not only did he watch the scene of Doom killing aliens over and over again, which gave him a high-energy moment, he also ignored the small contribution of the Fantastic Four. Then it's straight to Fantastic Four vs Doom. By the way, let a reporter from the company expose the dispute between the two parties, and then arrange for the trolls to build momentum. Shocked, the Fantastic Four turned out to be such people. It's so disgusting. With such a character, he has the nerve to become a superhero. Sure enough, Wild Chaoying is not as trustworthy as those who have been formally trained by Dad's company, have well-known trademarks. Doom is so pathetic, isn't he? Old fellows, the accidents and cases around Bacchus Tower were not caused by the Fantastic Four themselves, right? Otherwise, why would they come forward? Hey, do you know how hard Doom works? The future is bright. Dr. Doom, please, let's protect the best Dr. Doom together, face challenges together, and grow together. Calling, criticizing, blacklisting, rushing, smearing the opponent, Wei Guangguang corrects himself, and fabricates a set of history. This method is simply the ancestral method of Milesian. This is how they founded their country. Now, this method of the American ancestors has been infinitely amplified by Dad's company and Hydra. It also carries the credit of saving New York. All I can say is, invincible. The Fantastic Four, who originally had a good reputation, couldn't resist it at all. They collapsed in an instant and became notorious villains. And at this time, after experiencing the battle with the Thodo Boy, the Fantastic Four's abilities have been significantly trained and developed, and their combat effectiveness has been improved. Still beating Doom. Don't say anything else. As for Mr. Fantastic's Nika Fruit ability, it's really at the level of a fantasy beast and is immune to almost all attacks. Moreover, Nika is the sun god and has natural lightning. Then Doom was really tired after fighting with the aliens for a long time. Now he relies solely on his hatred and superior combat IQ to defeat 4 enemies one after another. But obviously it won't last long, and it will soon be defeated by a righteous gang fight, and another tragedy will end. This scene was presented to everyone in the live broadcast room. That's incredible. He is simply the representative of a tragic hero, a tough guy, and a real man. Hey, Hulkjigi, come on, let's protect Doom together. ing_ing. Spider, Zoo 3, Zoo Heart, Hero Dance King, let's dance for Dr. Doom. Torter, generate electricity. Shaking head, distortion, dark crawling. Treasure Boy Locomotive, kill them all. Azu didn't need to say anything. Every fan group of the hero is now calling like crazy, shouting for justice to be carried out. The heroes couldn't help but move forward involuntarily, heading towards the Bacchus building. Bacchus building. Reed, what do you need to pay me for what you owe me? The enemy was extremely jealous when they met, and Doom's small universe exploded again, with lightning, thunder, and electric sounds. Boom, he beat the invisible woman away, made the Thing and the Human Torch spin around, and then beat Mr. Fantastic crazily. Reed did feel a little guilty, so he used his clever brain and confidently advised, that's enough. Doom, Susan and I are innocent. We can sit down and talk about your company's bankruptcy. Would it be a good idea to take it to legal action? Can you get off Susan when you say this on horseback? Doom was furious. Is the rubber man awesome? Is it awesome if it's very long and can be inflated? Still resorting to law. It's so funny, if he hadn't been lucky enough to be lucky, not only would he be dead right now, he would also be stranded in space like the NASA astronauts. If so, will Reed save him? Not at all. Reed completely forgot about him and took away everything that belonged to him. The brothers are connected heart to heart with you, and you are playing tricks with your brothers. Doom. Hee hee. It's almost Reed. This guy is crazy, there's no need to reason with him. Ignition. The Human Torch is energetic again. He rises into the sky, dragging a long tail flame and hitting the head with his head, like a burning meteor falling. He was about to knock Doom away. Receive. Among the mutants, artists Pyro and Iceman, who had just signed a contract with Dad's company, both appeared. As soon as the Pyroman stretched out his hand, the flames of the Thunderbolt were captured and controlled as if ordinary fire had encountered strange fire. No, buddy, you. The Human Torch fell from the air and hit the billboard of Dad's company. It was so painful that he was beaten to death. Before he could curse, Iceman went up and gave him a quick freeze, freezing him. Johnny. When Susan saw this, she immediately controlled the invisible force field and wanted to come to save people. Dirty. But at this time, a strong exclusive MV music sounded. The locomotive was running at a high speed and hit Susan directly, causing her head to buzz. Hulk, smash it. Immediately afterwards, the Hulk also fell from the sky, jumped and set off a hurricane, and landed like a bomb. Boom. It flipped the Stone Man over with its butt, and the anger from the fans turned into endless power. It roared wildly, and actually grabbed the Stone Man's head, pressed the Stone Man's face, pressed the Stone Man's body, and ran like a wild beast. Boom, boom, boom. The violent fighting style shook the world. Wherever the Hulk passed, buildings collapsed, steel bars cracked, and roads were deserted. In the end, he even ended up in New York City, creating a small desert. Look around. The huge amounts of deep ravines are clearly visible. At the end of the ravine and at the beginning of the desolation, the Stone Man split open. At the same time, Doom also beat Mr. Fantastic violently and threw it aside, looking at his enemies who suddenly fell to the ground. Doom. What's going on? Did this Reed cause so much hatred? No, that's not right. Hulk, Locomotive, mutants. They all seem to be heroes of the same company, and are known for their justice. Are you here to punish yourself? Doom looked wary. Then I saw Obstacle Pear holding the live broadcast room in her hands and trotting over excitedly. It's gone up. It's gone up. Dr. Doom, your popularity has now reached the top 10. Doom, feeling confused, he stretched out his head to take a look. Barrage. Confess my love to Dr. Doom. The world is so big, and I want to be by your side. Dum-dum, backquote, different. Dum-dum, cool and trendy. Dum-dum, the future is promising. May you get better and better, may you become more and more outstanding, may you read 1,000 sales and come back still a young man. Seeing these barrages, Doom felt that his cerebellum suddenly shrank. He suddenly felt that this city was so big, empty, and strange. Is this still domestic? Doom is confused now, really, very confused. Everyone else was stunned. Mr. Fantastic, who was lying on the ground, watched Doom beat himself violently, and was surrounded by flowers and applause. Quote. He fell to the ground like a joker. Isn't this wrong? Mr. Fantastic used his amazing wisdom again. When he turned on his phone, he saw that the entire company was hacking him. Why is it dark? They actually told him everything he had done. That's too much. This is rumor and fake news. It's the BBC. When things are urgent, Mr. Fantastic comes up with a brilliant plan. He doesn't care about anything and directly hires trolls to hedge against his father's company. He constantly explains, clarifies, and teaches netizens how to behave like a father. Trying to turn the situation around. Result. Just seeking death. You know, in the Marvel world, Hydra is the pinnacle of the media industry. They have done nothing but package and beautify themselves in recent years. In addition, it hinders the operation of Pear. In addition, reporters are originally buffs. The reporter from Milliken, the prosecutor from Han Country, and the little film teacher from Little Japan are all representatives of love and justice. Normally, Everyone is afraid of the media and is afraid of offending these new era talents, so they support them and even offer them money in exchange for saying nice things. But Mr. Fantastic is so awesome that they don't take them seriously and even ridicule them. Can the media industry tolerate this psychological gap? This time the trap is too big. There is no need to interfere with Lee's coordination work. Videos, newspapers, talk shows in the media industry, all started to have a carnival, crazy and chaotic Mr. Fantastic. It's just a beat to death in one breath. Quote exclamation mark quote. Faced with this situation, Mr. Fantastic panicked. He looked so helpless, in a hurry, and sweating profusely. Azu was disappointed when he saw it. Is there really someone who is more incompetent, mentally retarded, and a giant infant than another self? It's breathtaking. He is indeed the magical pig teammate that Dad calls him. He shook his head and said, "Dumb, my friend, you are the real hero." Finished. Azu looked at the Fantastic Four who had been caught, with a look of disgust and stupidity on his face. "We didn't do anything wrong. Mr. Zoo." Mr. Fantastic's rubber mouth is soft but also hard, and he is still barking. Indeed, under American law, even illegal settlements are legally protected. What's more, Mr. Fantastic just cheated on Doom and slept with his sister-in-law. What a big deal. There's no need to get to this point. Mr. Zoo, we can apologize and admit our mistakes, and we can go before Mr. Guan and accept reprimands. After his debut at the opening, everyone in New York now knows that Guan Fuyun is the eldest father of every character with a surname. Laugh. Hearing this, Azu smiled brightly. What kind of person is he worthy of meeting his father? If he really brought these 4 valuables to the farm, wouldn't that make his father angry? Wouldn't that mean that he is full of filial piety and full of filial piety? My decision is what Dad wants. Whatever I want to do, Dad will agree to it. Azu made no secret of it and even showed off proudly. Smug fool. She suddenly realized that she had tricked someone, killed her, and then pretended to be innocent. Do you really think you are a hero? Have you been issued certificates? Azu glanced at Doom and asked, do you need their apology and compensation? Don't want. Of course Doom refused. He just wanted to take revenge because he didn't want to be disgusted. Right. Azu appreciated it. It's useless to talk nonsense, let others feel sorry for you. The words fell. He gently raised his hand and threw Godzilla out. The monster expanded in the air and landed more than 10 meters high. Boom. The giant beast, whose body seemed to be forever marked with red lotus, crushed the stone man with 1 foot and destroyed it with the power of the phoenix. The whole process is completely sudden and starts at 0 frames. That is to say, the troublemaker has rich working experience, otherwise others will not be able to react and cut the advertisement, which will scare the human cubs. At this time, Azu is still wearing a suit and leather shoes, wearing black-rimmed glasses, and is polite and cheerful. But the giant beast behind him is so ferocious, powerful, and chilling. The temperaments of both sides are intertwined, making it particularly eye-catching. Surprised, shocked, suddenly understood. Various gazes appeared, various expressions changed, and Azu, who attracted the attention of everyone, still seemed so ordinary. But his sense of oppression suddenly surged, as if in front of him. Anyone, under any circumstances, can die suddenly. Continue, Azu said with a sigh. Roar. Godzilla nodded, indicating that bro, don't worry and watch my operation. When it opened its mouth, the invisible girl and the human torch were like 2 potato chips, chewed, torn, and digested. In front of Godzilla with the Phoenix Force, Mr. Fantastic can only turn into magical noodles that can be sucked in and wrapped into excrement. It's great. This is how it feels. I want more. The attention, awe, fear, heat, traffic of the people around him, these things are rooted in Azu's heart as a controller. That's how it was. Originally, in all his childhood, when he was thrown into a high-temperature furnace to test the heat resistance of his skin, when he was shot, gassed, exposed to nuclear radiation, when he was hungry, those things were deeply ingrained. But later, Guan Fuyun appeared. When he came, he was vigorous, like a meter of sunshine, but later, Azu discovered that his father was the sun. The sun that shines on him can make him continue to grow stronger, but the sun that shines on his heart is only his father. The thought of what I did would make my father happy. Azu was so happy that he trembled. He is not normal. He understands this. But so what? Now, he has too much and is not afraid of losing it at all. With his father as his shield, he has no worries about anything. He didn't even need to bleed himself. His Godzilla can take care of everything. Well done. It turns out that Mr. Zhu also has this kind of, protective beast. The aliens come and pretend to be dead, then come out and beat Doom when they're done. This kind of trash should have been dealt with long ago. I think they are a scourge, super villains. Nip it in the bud, Brother Zhu, be tall and hard. When he does something similar to John, everyone will just cheer, and it comes from the heart and becomes a trend. From now on, not only are there no more Fantastic Four on this planet, the Fantastic Four in any other universe will also be labeled as villains, and they will be sent as soon as they come. They should stop thinking about turning around and causing trouble. But it's not over yet. With the vest of Mr. Zhu, I complied with Shun's father's wishes. Azu also wanted to communicate with the foot-scratching boy as a fellow. Now he is not worried about this thing affecting the relationship between father and son on the farm. But he really wanted to say something to the sloppy boy. You're really disappointing. Hey, the 4 magical trappers have been killed and one directly. Everyone, go get busy. Azu clapped his hands and smiled brightly, work hard for life. Every superhero should have his own, comfortable life. We are tired of logging. The company is a family. This is so sweet to say. Very grounding and uplifting. It gives people a feeling that the future is bright and radiant, and that this brightness has been reflected in salary and life happiness. When Hulk heard this, he would giggle and hold up billboards to coax his fans. Hulk jiggy. Ah, it's so big I'm going to faint. Hulk has a lot of female fans, and a lot of people ask for autographs, but Hulk's hands are too big, so his autographs always end up bad. This distressed it. President Ancestor, it is true that among men you are a dragon and a phoenix. Your Majesty, you must be like a heavenly being. Seeing Azu Yusho killing people with such clean methods and such aloof mentality. Magneto immediately showed sympathy to each other. He was riding Wolverine and wanted to chat a little bit, but the troublemaker came over as soon as a document came out and said, sign the contract first. For those with super abilities that can be manifested, such as controlling metal, breathing fire, electric discharge, controlling water. Before signing the contract, please contact the director team and special effects team, and there will be a salary bonus. Mystique, go directly to the set go. Finance, give her money. Newcomers will need to undergo training before they can be released onto the streets. Dumb, don't be in a daze. You are very popular now. It is not impossible to join the 7 in the future. Have you considered getting a job first? Some people, on the surface, are the Fantastic Four, but in fact they are the 4 kings of sin. And Dr. Doom, who returns for revenge, is full of passion. How pleasant it sounds, right? Although the person is dead, the body can still be whipped. Are you interested in starring in the company's new movie, Dr. Doom, Return of the Avengers? Zhu Shili is recruiting employees frantically to grow its team. I'm a CEO. This is a life in which the boss completely hands off and delegates power, and the subordinates are obedient, sensible and reasonable. She really loves it to death. At this time, among the crowd, the only one who was quiet and not fighting was the locomotive. He kept his feet on the ground and continued to do some chores and hard work, helping the victims rebuild their buildings and making the little boy happy. Do. Sudden, the call came from Locomotive's brother, and he answered the call anxiously. Elder brother, I saw you. In the live broadcast room, the Locomotive ran very fast. It's great. You have become a real hero now. Brother, our whole family is proud of you. Quote. Why don't you speak, brother? Crying silently. Ha. Run, Locomotive, run. Elder brother. How, what if, and I mean what if, you had a healthy, fully fitting spine and legs, would you consider a transplant? I want you to stand up and keep training me. Enter the Bacchus building. The bright smile on Azu's face disappeared in a second, turning into a stern face, gritted teeth, and looming red eyes. Help, look at the door. Put down Godzilla. Azu came to the special prison of the Fantastic Four alone. Inside, the boy with squeaky feet was being imprisoned. Said it was a prison. In fact, it is just a super glass cover that Mr. Fantastic invented at a moment's notice. The manic squealing boy, like a grasshopper, was jumping around inside, yelling and swearing, and spitting out fragrance. I saw Azu with red eyes. "Who are you riding on the horse?" The boy with sloppy feet cursed and had a strong mouth. "The fall of 1980. Azuth said politely and slowly. "You were called to VOG Bomb's laboratory for experiments." "Bullshit experiments on genes. You should still remember the high-end room you used at that time, June, Daniel Dean. You shot your genes into the Holy Grail. Later. Wog Bomb had a baby, born in the spring of 1981, a boy. Tell you something interesting. I'm that boy. But you are not worthy of being a father. This is not because you are a boy. Even if you are nothing, have no medicine and no super ability, you are not worthy of being a father. Why? If it weren't for Dad's cultural circle and customs, which don't promote patricide, I would definitely kill you and use your head as a chamber pot to hold the shit of a tramp." But Dad said it again. "Sometimes, living is the most painful thing. If I don't kill you, I can torture you all the time, let you see that I have everything, and make you regretful for the rest of your life." Quote. The sloppy boy looked confused. "Are you kidding me, buddy?" Azu sighed, suddenly drank milk and said, "I know everything about you, but you know nothing about me. This would have been good, really. But with the integration of the two worlds, I'm not sure whether you will suddenly awaken some memories or meet some people." Then he went crazy and came to the farm, disturbing my father's leisure time and disgusting our appetite. The mere existence of this possibility annoys me. It makes me unable to hold my head up at home. Understood? So I thought, let's stop pretending to show off. As a human being, you must be ruthless. I will tell you everything and then destroy everything about you. If Dad sees you in the future, it will only be you competing with the dog to make him laugh." Said. On Azu's neck, the time gem suddenly lit up, and the light turned into a ray of sky, pouring some memories, pictures, into the mind of the sloppy boy. "So that's it. It's like that. How could it be like that?" The boy understood everything. He sat on the ground, hugging Steve's shield, and suddenly laughed loudly. As the laughter became more and more loud, anyone could hear the ridicule and contempt contained within. "You're just a weak giant baby. Want to destroy me? Ridiculous." In the world of black robes, the boy is the well-deserved pinnacle. Even people from the motherland are not afraid in his eyes. If it were a fellow countryman, would the result be different? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. In laughter, Azu calmly tore off his suit, put on his shirt, and put away his black-rimmed glasses. "After all, you have to be clean." Then he held out his hand. One hand easily crushed the cage that imprisoned the boy with sloppy legs, grabbed the boy with sloppy legs by his neck, and cut off his laughter. Accompanied by an action of pulling radishes on a farm. The head of the boy, together with the spine, protrudes from the body like a sheep or a scorpion. He was shocked, he couldn't believe it, he opened his mouth, and his words were leaking. "Oh, how could you be so strong? This is not what compound number 5 can achieve. Laugh, keep laughing." The corners of Azu's mouth raised. "If you don't laugh, I will laugh." Buzz. On his neck, the time gem activated, rewinding the time of the boy. Click. At the same time, Azu crushed the soul scepter, and the yellow diamond-like soul gem fell, and he caught it. Buzz. Using the power of the Mind Stone, Azu recreated the spirit and psychology of the dying boy, and then poured it into the brain of the restarted soldier one by one. Yes, this is the purpose of his coming to get the spiritual scepter. Although the Mind Stone is given to Wanda, it is normal for him to use it. Gia. The Time Stone resets the body, and the Mind Stone retains pain. He also told the other party the cause and effect in advance. Azu is very particular about life. He must ensure that the darkness and violence in his heart are completely vented, so that his thoughts can be clear and clear. This is impossible, not true. At this moment, the boy was still in shock. He was so shocked that he refuted and denied it in disbelief. Now he is equivalent to the 3rd season of Black Robe. He thinks he is invincible and invincible. He takes revenge all the way and comes to Azu in high spirits. Then he was hit by a big. Who can bear this? Especially. Still being crushed by his own biological son. Although he said that he would. give the halo to his son. In fact, the boy has the biggest personality in the world. What he needs is not a big boy, but an obedient dog that can bite. Fake squid, an animal. The squeezing boy spits out fragrance. Snap. Azu stretched out his hand and slapped him like a god of heaven. Then, the boy was like a kicked dog, with his face in front and his body behind, flying backwards at high speed and crashing through layers of walls. Boom, boom, boom. The roar resounded and the Bacchus building shook. The sofa was smashed, the bathtub exploded, the closet was flying, wires, remote controls, gravel, toys, many debris were suspended in the air. But that's not weightlessness. It was an illusion caused by the boy flying upside down too fast. This moment, the world spins, the ceiling and the floor become confused, the end of all this chaos and fragmentation. The fellow villagers were floating low in the sky, waiting with red eyes. What a speed! There was a look of horror in the depths of the boy's pupils. Phew! The next moment, his chest was penetrated by fellow villagers, and his heart was crushed. Suffocation, severe pain, fear, all kinds of feelings emerge. Every second is torture, and death is not the end. Reset. Fake squid. Sweeping boy was the first to attack, using vibranium shield to hit him. Huge amounts of strength plus vibranium special. This blow stirred up chaos in the air, forming a tentacle-like hurricane that was constantly pulling. Whoosh. Then, the hurricane was cut open. Huge amounts of adamantium sword, unsheathed. Faced with the frivolous boy's gaudy set of military boxing, Azu only had one action: draw his sword and strike at Mount Tai with all his strength. Buzz. Heat vision overflowed from his eyes, which were blazing, brilliant, and scarlet like volcanoes, and a pair of eyes swayed in destruction. The heated giant blade shook out iron trees and silver flowers. Looking far away, it was like a ray of red light, an iron painting, running through the entire Bacchus building and piercing the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The blade collided with the shield. After several rounds, the vibranium shield appeared chipped and shattered. Whoosh. The boy with squeaky feet was cut in half and was left wailing on the ground. Reset. Boom. Azu used his heat vision to roast the boy with his feet. Reset. Fake squid. The boy turned around and ran away. He picked up the headphones on the ground and played Mousy's golden songs for himself. Buzz. Boom. The zero-frame chest cannon is charged and fired, and the beam of light blasts into the sky, like an eraser, erasing walls, furniture, equipment. From reality, the power is terrifying. However, there are no eggs. Flesh and blood were evaporated, the body was turned into a wreckage, and the bones were turned into ashes. All of this was just the fantasy of the boy. Mousy, Mousy, me quickly. The boy even took the initiative to review Mousy's experimental package to increase the power of the chest cannon. But it didn't work. Da, da, da. Azu held his chest against his chest and moved forward step by step, with a look of joy on his face. Because of some blue liquid. Precipitating. He has been soaked in number 5 compound since he was a baby. Now, like a nightmare, far away from him. Harder. Azu's 2 peaks penetrated his ears. Ma. The soldier boy kept blasting chest cannons like bugs blasting elephants. At the same time, accompanied by the evaporation of compound No. 5. The faint connection between Azu and John in the Black Robe world is also broken. Even the Time Stone is losing its spoiler power to another universe due to a special media break. Now, a mirror seemed to appear in front of Azu. He was looking in the mirror happily, enjoying the hearty victory. John in the mirror was anxious. No, 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 don't leave, let me see Daddy again. Even if it's just a dream, don't wake up, okay? Please, I'll let you drink my breast milk. I am Azu, I am Azu. Fake squid. John, wearing the jersey of his motherland, huddled on the ground like a primary school student. He held his school bag, which had paintings of farm, official clouds, Godzilla, and Wanda. And him. The image and position belonging to Azu were replaced by John. I will find you. Definitely. I am my father's son. John howled, his saliva, tears, and snot all covering his face. He is so jealous. Jealous. But he had no choice. Azu was great and noble. He, John, is crippled. Walter Company, you made me lose my mouth. Marvel World. Inside the Bacchus building, the boy watched helplessly as he was being squeezed dry. He really had no light at all. Azu, a fellow countryman, has become so powerful step by step. You should be very proud now, right? You can finally get my approval. The sloppy boy laughed at himself and had to admit his weakness. At this time, the corners of Azu's mouth rose. Looking at his mouth shape, unprecedented fear and despair appeared in the eyes of the boy. He seemed to have seen what would happen in the next scene. Sure enough, Azu stopped and stood in front of the boy with a bright and cheerful smile and said, "You're really disappointing." This sentence is the pain of the boy's life. It is his father's summary of his failed childhood and failed life. And ridicule. This pain is infinitely amplified because of the tragic defeat at this moment, because of Azu's ridicule, and because of the power of the Mind Stone. Throughout his life, he never received any real recognition. The boy's face was suddenly bloodshot and distorted, his expression was dull, and his eyes were almost starry-eyed. He plopped down and sat down. Like a completely defeated dog, unable to get up anymore. His heart was broken. At the same time, the original Black Robe world. Dad. Official Dad. Woo-woo-woo, I can't live without you. John was still crying and pitiful. Resurrection. My sweet dream. He kills people randomly, injects himself with more number 5 compounds, and desperately tries to reconnect with the Marvel world. The result is ultimately in vain. Just like his entire life so far, it was a waste. But cry and cry, John found that there was an extra door in front of him. Father. He happily walked in and arrived at the metropolis. He heard passers-by exclaiming, "Is that a bird? Is that a plane? No, that's Superman." 600th World, Metropolis. The troubled city where Superman is located. The planes here seem to have been cursed jointly by Dagu and Shinchang. Accidents are normal, and smooth landings are delusional. Such as this moment. Beep beep beep. The siren sounded loudly, and the plane was about to crash again. Look up. With his supervision, John had already seen the fallen cabin door and the shaking and smoking fuselage. Just wait to die, there is no hope. He thought, in this case, even if he is strong enough, he can hold the plane. But in the air, there is no fulcrum. Those huge amounts of force would destroy everything in an instant. He has experience in this area. But, whoosh. Amid people's exclamations, a man wearing a red and blue uniform, which represents super, wisdom and courage, soared into the sky. As soon as he stretched out his hand, he carried it onto the plane so smoothly. Then to applause and screams. Descend slowly. Quote. John frowned. What's going on? Superman, when did you come? This guy's ability seems to be similar to his own when he was with his father. It looks like it can absorb sunlight. So, does being able to defeat him mean that he is stronger than Azu? John thought so and suddenly became excited. Whoosh. With a quick kick on the ground, he also flew up. Another Superman. Who is he? The feeling of being in the spotlight, people's exclamations and praises made John feel that this world was no different from the black-robed world. He can do whatever he wants. Boom. Flying at super speed, John looked arrogant, like a yellow hair, and crashed into Superman Clark. Then there was a bang. John's face was crooked and his teeth were shattered, like mosquitoes that got into his mouth while running at high speed and were swallowed by him. Vomit. John vomited. Are you okay? Superman was also shocked when he discovered that there was someone similar to him in Metropolis. He smiled and said, "Did you just learn to fly? Looking like you're not very good at flying, you bumped into me, haha." John. Vomit. He continued to vomit. Take your time and take a deep breath. Superman put the plane down, then flew to John's side and said kindly, "You're riding on a horse." John couldn't bear it anymore. He had never seen anyone so arrogant in his life. His eyes turned red. Boom. Heat vision shoots out. However, in the world of black robes, there is almost no disadvantage, and people block the sight of the murderous motherland. Hit Superman. He couldn't even iron a hole in the opponent's uniform. Quote. This shocked John even more. In another world, he had his father's help and his father's super shirt and infinite gems. There is nothing wrong with being more powerful. If you give yourself the same thing, it's okay for him to have with you. But the Superman in front of him is wearing ordinary cloth. Why is it so outrageous? No, no, no. You are the best and most powerful. John's face exploded with anger. He yelled, "Go to hell," and with all his strength, he punched Clark in the face fiercely. Bang! Hit! John's face lit up. This punch was absolutely wonderful, it was his strongest blow. Ha ha! However, Superman tilted his face, pressed John's fist, and grinned, hit the cheek very gently. Is this a new way of saying hello? As he said that, he also stretched out his hand and punched. Give it a light hit. Boom, boom, boom. John was like a superb missile, flying upside down at a speed of more than Mach, and everyone was crushed into a ball by the air pressure. He smashed circles of sonic boom air waves in the air. Fly across the metropolis. Crash through a mountain. Then in a lake, he was constantly pushed sideways. Wherever it passes, the water surface collapses, and the water droplets are crushed and evaporated like gravel, forming a sky full of fog. At first glance, it was as if the entire Schwanyu Lake had been cut open by a sharp blade. In the sky, Superman scratched his head. The people at the bottom of the lake are almost autistic. He was beaten to tears. No, buddy, I'm sorry, I didn't take it seriously. Superman fished John out, then apologized profusely, saying nonchalantly, I didn't expect you to be so weak. You are not a Kryptonian, right? As soon as these words came out, John cried even louder. For a man in his 30s, Bao felt wronged. A few days later, Metropolis, Kryptonian, Kryptonite, Gotham Joker, Batman, Midtown, The Flash, and the Green Arrow next door. John cried aggrievedly while reviewing the information he had collected. No effort required. Those overwhelming news and accidents can tell him everything even if he doesn't want to read them. Tell him that he is a little brother here. But tell him too. He can become stronger. Although there are no infinity stones in the 600th world, the lamp ring, lasso of mantra, spear of destiny, anti-life equation, etc. are also options. When I get stronger, I will kill you all. John was crying and getting angry. Very funny. But he really wasn't joking, he was really violent, and he just wanted to reach the top step by step. Finished. John also called a wet nurse to nurse the blood from his mouth. Other side. The Marvel world, New York City, is a scene full of vitality and everything is competing. Loki was captured, hung up and beaten, the Chitauri regiment was completely defeated, and the purple sweet potato spirit behind them also disappeared. The Fantastic Four were killed. Dr. Doom signed a contract with the company and became a popular artist. Xavier Academy for Geniuses, school recruitment has officially begun, and mutants are channelized into society and integrated with the public. Among them is Wolverine, but the most successful one has to be Mystique. After all, she is really good at acting. As soon as her solo movie was released, she became the Queen of Thousand Faces. To the changes in mutants. Of course, the Americans are unwilling. They prefer that these ethnic minorities divide and fight instead of uniting. But throughout the whole process, New York officials and S.H.I.E.L.D. were teased and suppressed, and they didn't even dare to let out a fart. Good news comes one after another. Dad's company is really winning big, winning, and prospering. And Azu broke the soldier boy's Taoist heart, detoxified the number 5 compound, and cut off the relationship with John Zhu. I don't care about the company at all, and I don't show off. He returned to the farm, like a real old farmer, digging and planting the land with hoe after hoe. Feel the fragrance of the earth. Enjoy the joy of harvest. Very nice. Guan Fuyun was on the side, also wielding a hoe to dig the ground, while listening to Azu's chatter about how he dealt with the Fantastic Four and how to attack Soldier Boy. Azu, you have grown up. The young official is floating in the clouds, but the old man is full of comfort. It's really amazing. Who would have thought that the orphan he picked up on the roadside would actually be a native of the motherland? Who would have thought that Azu would be so proficient in life now? Really, education changes destiny, and families shape the future. Guan Fuyun turned his head and glanced at the girl Wanda who was painting and Godzilla sleeping on the edge of the field. Feeling great. At this time, Godzilla raised his head and glanced into the distance suspiciously. He seemed to feel something. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.